what's up, everybody, my people? It's your man right here. I'm back. It's good to see everybody here in the room. Man, let me know, guys. Let me know in the comment section where you guys watching from, where you catching me live from. Okay, we're gonna have a very interesting session today, and you guys are going to have an opportunity to come to join and also to pledge your opinion. All right, to pledge your opinion and what you think and everything. And we're gonna be very careful on how we address this issue, all right? Because you guys have seen in my social media since yesterday out today, I've been talking about this one thing, and as well as here in Swahili Nation, we've been talking about this because these are the moments that all of us must come together and actually speak one language, the same language. You know, this is not the time of colonialism like long time ago. This is 21st century, all right? It's 21st century, and you know, you're talking about Africa. Africa is the, you know, I've traveled a little bit, and I've made, like, Africans are one of the most brilliant people I've ever seen in this world. All right, starting with me, myself. I've seen that everywhere. People that I'm working with, people that I talk to, all the conversation that I have every single Monday with different CEOs, you know, with different innovators, entrepreneurs, you know, they're just brilliant. I have this conversation here on the screen, and also have this conversation behind the scene. God has given me an amazing opportunity to have conversation with the CEO and founders of different things, different platforms. And these Africans, they're just brilliant. Like, they are brilliant. Like, we are brilliant. Like, man, like, I don't know what to say, man. And then somebody came up with IQ, you know, and to show that, you know, Africans, they have low. Get the heck out of here, man. Like, you know, our brain, even if you put like that IQ measurement, you measure, like, it doesn't fit there, because that IQ, the value of IQ is lower than the brain that God has given you as an African. Like, your brain is crazy. It's more than the computer I'm using here right now. It's more than your smartphone you're using right now. Sometimes we save things on our phone so that we may not forget. But man, your brain, it has an amazing memory. It's not like 1 terabyte. It's not even 2. It's not even 100. It's more than that. It just depends on how much you train your brain to remember and to keep those memories of things ever since you're a little kid until today. You still remember them, right? Tell me about your computer. You know, some of them, you know, virus come in and then destroy, and then you don't have anything, you know, in your memory or in your files. We deal with viruses every single time. And for us, we have some viruses sometimes. But my point is, your brain, you as an African, look at yourself right now. Look at yourself and tell yourself that I am brilliant, I am smart, I am brave, I am more than anything. Like, you, that's just who we are, man. And that's what we define here in Swahili Nation One Africa. That's what we define. I have good news, first of all. And before I begin, let me pray, and then I'll jump right into that. God, I thank you for a very beautiful day that we're going to talk. We're going to discuss about this issue that is happening between European Union and Tanzania and Uganda and Africa in general. Give us wisdom to know how to speak. Give us wisdom to address this matter in that way that is going to be helpful to our governments, to our people, and also to the other side. I pray all these things in your precious Jesus' name. Amen. All right, guys. You always need to put God at the center, because, you know, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this, guys. In this world, I'm telling you something that is very true. I'm telling you something that is very true, and it's something that you need to think. This is a secret, all right? I'm telling you a secret, very secret. This is the top secret. The top secret is this. Whenever you see successful thing, whether successful business, successful, whatever you see, that you have to know that there's a level of spirituality with that person that is so much different. It's not like normal, like anybody else. The level of your spirit, your spirituality, it really determines on how you're going to be successful and how you're going to be successful in this world, because we're dealing with a lot of things in spiritual world and in the physical world. So it depends which side you are on. There's other people that are on the side of God, other people that are on the other side. All those things are the level of spirituality. If you see someone very successful, someone is making moves that you have never seen before, you have to understand that behind that person, in that person, there's a different kind of spirit that give that courage and that energy and that ability to carry on. Because in this world, if you're not spiritual, you're not going to succeed. That's how it is in this world. That's how this world was designed. That's how this world was created. That's how you were created and I was created. So it's up to you to choose the side. Which side you want to invest your time, which side you wanna be one with. So the people, they're on the other side and they're successful because that's the principle. The people are choosing the other side, which is most difficult. This side that we're running to, also, we are successful, and that's how we'll be. That's why we keep God at the center of what we are doing. There's no thing in this world, it's just physical, and it's going to be successful if you're not spiritually strong. That's why we always say, just guys, pray. Pray for us, pray for people who are hosting this. I'm telling you, these guys, I have evidence. People who are working here, people who are volunteer here, people who are here every single day, the battles they're going through, you cannot imagine. Some of it is secret because they don't want to say, they don't want to expose. But me personally, I have this privilege to know, like to be told by people that I'm working with, people that we are doing this work together. They're informing me what's going on. And when they tell me what is going on, when they share with me what is going on, I'm telling you guys, it has nothing to do with anything else but what we are doing. So what I do, this is what I do. I say, hey, I'll pray for you. And I'm going to pray. If you're struggling in your life right now, let me tell you this. If you're struggling with your life right now, look at your level of spirituality. I don't care what you believe in. I don't care what you believe in. I will advise you to believe in God and to invest your time in that because that is untouchable. I'm telling you, it's untouchable. When God says yes, nobody can say no. When God cover you and shower you with his blessing, nobody's going to touch you unless it's your time. If it's your time, you're going to go, my brother and my sisters. If it's not your time, I'm telling you, they will do everything that they want to take you down. You will continue to shine because the level of your success, it really depends on the level of your spirituality. If you're shallow, that's how your success will be. It will be shallow as well. I'm telling you this, guys. This is the top secret. You take it to your business, whatever business you're doing, you take it, you put your business. That's why you see, man, a lot of people, if it's leaders, if it's whatever, most of them, they have something there. I don't know what is it. Some people, they go to witch doctors. Some people, they go to God. It's up to you to choose which side to choose. And I'm telling you, that's why people are untouchable in this world because of that. So our portion as a Swahili nation in One Africa is God and nothing else but God. Because I'm telling you, that is untouchable. This movement, this thing, you'll see until the end. Until the end, man. Until the end. The last day God is calling us back home. You see this thing standing. You know why? Because there's the power. In front, back, on the left side, in us and outside us, there's power in us. Untouchable power. And I'm telling you this right now clearly, and it's a top secret. Remember that. If you're struggling with anything, just push and just boost up your spiritual level. Yeah, just do that. Just do that. Because the more you are successful spiritually, that's how you'll be successful physically as well. That's how it goes. That's the principle of this world, the principle of the creator of this world. It is the principle. Like nothing will change. It will never change. Trust me, it will never change. I'm giving you top secret today before we jump into this topic. I'm giving you a secret, and I'm aware, and I'm fully aware that I'll tell you this, man, there's nobody who don't believe on anything. Even atheists, they believe in something. No one who don't believe in anything. I'm telling you that right now. Everybody believe in something. And that level of spirituality, whatever side you're on, you determine your success. But some of them, and I got to be clear with this. If you're on the other side, it's temporary. If you're on the other side, man, it's forever. Because even when I die, I live again. All right, those are really sensitive matters. And some of you, maybe you don't understand me. You feel like I'm a pastor. Guys, I'm not a pastor. But I've decided, I've chosen my side, and we have chosen our side ever since the first time we started. And that's why, guys, I'm telling you, standing with One Africa, with Swahili Nation, you're not wasting your time. You're doing something that you're going to be proud of. You're doing something that you're proud of, because every single thing we talk, every single thing we plan, every single thing we do, Every single thing we do, God's hands, it's upon it. And I'm telling you, whether it's today, tomorrow, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, I'm telling you, we're going to see one Africa in our generation. We're going to see it. And I'm not saying this because I just believe, but because we put on the actions as well. Good news. Let me start with the good news, guys. Officially, we have got our certificates from the government. So Healing Nation, One Africa is officially registered, and we have the documents already. Come on, somebody. Woo! We're starting with that. That means all the fights that we have been doing all the time behind the scene, all the time through this platform, and everything that we have done, it means right now we are legally and we are going front to make those changes. We're going to demand those changes. We're going to start projects that are going to transform Africa, our countries, and they're going to set us on the map. We're going to start those projects. Right now, as I'm saying, we're working on a very first project, writing proposals, filming this project that, guys, once it's done, I will come here to share with you guys what is going to be our first project. And I'm telling you, man, I'm telling you, guys, I'm telling you, if you're not part of this family, I feel sorry for you, man. I feel sorry for you. You know what? I don't beg for people to come to this family anymore these days. I'm like, you know what? It's your opportunity. If you come, it's your opportunity. You're going to change the world. If you don't, it's up to you. You will see us changing the world and you clap for us. That's what's going to happen. I'm telling you, the first project that we're working on the proposal right now, it's going to be a game changer in Africa. I'm telling you, the game changer in Africa. We're going to change people's lives. We're going to give employments to people. We're going to change people's life. We're going to change Africa's life. We're going to do that. And I'm telling you, these are not planned for one day. These are planned for 10 years. These are planned for 100 years. These are planned for 200 years. That's how well we are organized, planned, and we're ready to take on action. I'm telling you, nobody's going to stop Africa again, because youth, we're right here. We are at work with our platform, with our Swahili Nation in One Africa. We are all ready to take off. You can either sit back, watch us taking off, or you can either come participate, be part of this movement, be part of this change. Be like, you know what? I want to see this change. I want to see it, because if you're just spectator watching from afar, now you know that we already have registration. You know what is coming next? The project. We have already started to work on the project. We don't even have the offices. We don't even have the offices, because I'm telling you, we are trying to raise money for the offices, but it doesn't really matter. If we don't get the office, we're going to still work. We're going to still do whatever we can. We're going to still do whatever we can, because the office is right here. You know, this man, it's office already. It's right here. We're working on this, but it doesn't really matter. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to give, if you're going to contribute for this office, do. If you're not going to do, that's okay. Don't do it. But you know what? The work is not going to stop simply because you don't have office. Come on, man. Come on, man. It's not going to stop because you don't have office. We've been working for 3 years right now. We don't have office, and the work is still moving forward. Do we need office? Yes, we need office. But can't we do our work without office? Come on, man. No, come on. You guys, you know the answer. You know what I'm saying? We're moving forward, working on the first project, man. Like, I'm really inspired right now. I just want to go ahead and just start speaking about this project, but I'm going to sustain myself, because, first of all, we need even a copyright for this project, you know? But it's something that is going to transform the continent. It's going to transform our countries. Where we are right now, we're going to do something that you guys in the diaspora, oh my goodness, you gotta wake up as soon as possible, because as soon as we start doing this project, you guys, you're welcome. You're welcome to come to participate. You understand what I'm saying? You're welcome to come to participate, to see it with your eyes. That, oh, this is the change you want in Africa. This is the change that we've always been crying for. This is the change you've always been praying for. This is the change you've always been waiting for. The change is just here, guys. It's not even around the corner, but it's right here. It's happening already. That's just a simple introduction. And we got registration paper today. We're going to get a website very soon, guys, very soon. Very soon. Very soon, we're going to get that. We're going to get that proposal of that project very soon, and we'll share here with you guys. We'll be here, me with the entire team will be here to share with you guys the project. Not only that, man, I don't know what to say, man. We already have the profile of the organization. It's already prepared, very good, very well organized profile that you guys will be able to see, to read, and to understand everything. Just a little bit like that. Sky is not the limit. I don't say sky is the limit because sky is too low for us. Sky is not the limit, and we're not going to settle for anything lesser than our value. Let's go ahead to jump to this matter of European Union and resolution to stop the oil pipeline in Uganda to Tanzania. All right, we're going to address that a little bit, and then I'll open the room for you guys to come and to contribute. All right, you'll have opportunity to say whatever that you want to say, but I'm going to lay down a little bit foundation of this matter so that we may understand. So, guys, here's the issue. There's this project that has been happening, and I've already said a couple of times, you know, between, Uganda and Tanzania, the oil pipeline. And it has already started. It has already started, and European Union, as you know, these guys, they always love to put their nose into our businesses. They always love to do that. Whenever you make the smart move to improve your continent, to improve your people, they're always right there. Yeah. I remember the time of Jared. All right, let's talk about Jared a little bit. I'm talking about Jared a little bit. Jared, the biggest dam in Africa that can produce electricity, not just for Ethiopia, but for so many countries in Africa and surrounding it. That's big and dam. You know how much resistance came because of all the reasons that, the Nile River will be, there'll be lack of water if you do that. There's a lot of farmers that they depend on that water. Egypt, it depends on that water. If you do that, it's going to stop. And I'm thinking in my mind, does we in Africa only depend on farming? No, we don't. We are in the time that we need to industrialize our countries. Yes, we need excessive amount of food so that our people, they no longer die because of hunger, but also we need to transform in the industry sector so that we may not constantly just want support from the industry, from the outside, from Chinese or from America or from Europe or from here and there. No, but we have our own industry that we run our own things, we run our own narratives, we run our own good and transform this continent. That's what we need. We need more industries. Yes, I know there's an issue of climate change. I know there's all those kind of things, but man, I'm telling you, Africa is like a jungle. When you're talking about that, you're talking about Africa is like a jungle. If you come to Africa and you go to different cities, yes, come to Tanzania. I've been to Tanzania, I've been to Ethiopia, I've seen the countries, I've been to South Africa, I've seen, man, you go to some places, you find thousands and hundreds of trees. And not only that, we're still planting trees until today to make sure that we secure our climate for the future. I'll tell you this, you can go to South Korea, you can go to China. You will never, even in a single day, to see stars on the sky. You know why? Because that air has been polluted so bad that you cannot see the stars. The only stars you can see in Africa here, you come anytime you see the stars. As many stars you see. If you go there, you see satellites, not stars. Those things up there is satellites. Yes, they polluted their part. And so they're putting that on us that, oh, yeah, Africa, you really need not to do that because otherwise, we're not going to have anything anymore. But that's not really the case. There's something else behind it because when you have Jared, when you have the biggest dam that produces excessive amount of electricity, not only for your people, but for the entire continent, and the project that has been fully funded by Africans, by Ethiopians, everybody took a little pen of money, invest in that project because they're seeing the future, that in the future we'll have industries, and you cannot have industries if you don't have the excessive amount of electricity. How are you going to run your industry? Are you going to run through generators? Those are the ones that, like pollute air every single day. No, you need excessive amount of electricity to run your industries. Whatever industry you need that. Once you have that, I'm telling you, you're going to transform every single country that they call so-called developed country, which I call developing country. They invested in electricity. You can see South Korea, you can see Japan, you can see anywhere. Those places you go and you never see electricity goes down. And they work 24/7. There's an industry 24/7. They need excessive amount of electricity to be able to produce things that they do. In Africa, I'm telling you, we don't even need just electricity from water. We don't even need that. There was a concept here, John from Nigeria. He said, why don't we use the Sahara Desert? We use that to have the solar system power in Africa. Why don't we do that? Why don't we take advantage of that Sahara Desert, the really big place, produce solar system that can provide electricity to the entire continent? It's possible. We can do that. But you know why we're not doing it? Because we're not one. You're not collaborating. That's the project that it will require a lot of billions of dollars. But you know what? We'll be able to do that if we really have a strong one Africa. If we are one and we say, you know what? This Africa you see here, we no longer need darkness in Africa. Let's take advantage of this Sahara Desert we have. Let's produce electricity. Let's take advantage of water we have. Let's produce electricity. Let's take advantage of the wind we have in Africa. Let's produce electricity. I'm telling you, man, this continent, it will be nothing but prosperous, nothing but we are not one, so we don't have this collective decision. Everybody has their own decision, and we don't do anything, and we don't go anywhere. And then we end up in this place. There's someone there, they call European Union, made a resolution to stop whatever that is going on between Tanzania and Kenya. My question is this. Hear me out. I want to believe that this project, before it started, they did research. Tanzania and Kenya, they did excessive amount of research because this project, it was there for so many years. It just started to be I forgot the word, implemented recently, but it's been there for so long time. There've been numbers of research, and I wish, man, I can have someone. Then that's the thing, man. In issues like this, you can never get someone from the government to talk about these things. You can never get it. You can never get it. Can never get it, especially because those guys that say, okay, you cannot do this anymore. It's really hard to get it. But I hope I'll get someone to talk about this. Someone who will come and be like, okay, these are research that have been done. Because, man, you don't want to make us fools, all right? You don't want to make us fools. Like Africans, they just start projects without doing research, without knowing how much you have impact on people. This is what they say, European Union. Let me show you here. I love one comment that my brother commented here, and I had to share. You know, I'll tell you this, man. This guy, he commented, he said, oh, these people are stupid, according to him. That's what he said. He said, anything good for Africa, they always criminalize it. They know that Africa is energy and secure, and they use that to colonize us. They know that the pipeline will help Uganda and Tanzania to at least feed their people with energy. Now they say it's about climate-related issues and environment. How many tons of greenhouse gases that Europe and America produce? Listen to that. How many tons of that they produce? If you talk green energy, we can go there, but not by force, but by conscience. Do you understand that? So someone has already damaged this world, this climate, everything they want. They've done everything, and this climate has been damaged. And now, as the consequences, say, oh, Africa, you need to stay primitive. You don't need to do that. No, leave that alone. Don't build oil pipeline. Don't do anything. We need to preserve climate change. If you do that, you're going to destroy climate change, and you're going to kill people. Let me tell you this. I'm not disregard, and I want to say this. People that are living in this region, like this is another thing. If I have anyone from Uganda here, please, I want you to comment, because I've read articles that Uganda government, indeed, they actually say condemns these reports that they were produced, this resolution by European Union's parliament. It say by 2025, Uganda will have its own oil coming out from East Africa crude oil pipeline as planned. Those were the comments of President Yoweri Museveni, who reaffirmed his determination to have the project completed. His reaction came Friday following a resolution by European Union's parliament urging the international community to exert maximum pressure. Oh, okay, let me share here. Let me share here for you guys to see it, what I'm trying to read here, all right? Let me show you here, because we are going, I'll be very careful addressing this before I welcome you guys in and start pledging your ideas as well, all right? Okay, let's go on. It's right here. Let me show you right here, okay? This is the, it's actually Euro News, all right? It says here, his reaction came on Friday by resolution by European Union Parliament urging that international community to exert maximum pressure on Ugandan and Tanzanian authorities, as well as the project promoters and stakeholders, to stop oil activities around Lake Albert. Pressuring Uganda and Tanzania authorities, as well as the project promoters and stakeholders. Man, if the stakeholders are European, that project is going to start. You know, this is the time to wake up and start to do our own project. Uganda is estimated to have recoverable oil reserves of at least 1.4 billion barrels. Man, do you understand how much is that? In February, the China National Offshore Oil Corporation and Total Energy say that the total investment will be more than 10 billion US dollar. They have partnered with the Uganda National Oil Company and the Tanzania Petroleum Development Corporation. All right. So here, this is very interesting because you see the Chinese involved there. All right. So, okay, this is very interesting. The National Assembly issued a statement asserting Uganda's sovereignty and condemning the EU Parliament resolution. The resolution is based on misinformation and deliberate misrepresentation of key factors on environment and human rights protection. It represents the highest level of neocolonialism and imperialism against the sovereignty of Uganda and Tanzania. Thomas Tabb, the Deputy Speaker of the Assembly, said. Kampala says oil wealth can lift millions when environment NGOs like Friends of the Earth evaluated that over 100,000 people will lose land to make way for the project. All right, so let me see here. Unfair compensation. Compensation was also an issue if Ugandan civil society had already voiced that their disclosed compensation was not fair. The EU resolution doubled down. The EU Parliament said that some landowners had their homes destroyed to facilitate the construction of access roads or the processing plant, either have had all part of their land requisitioned and have lost the free use of their properties and thus their means of subsistence without prior payment of fair and okay, we're talking about fair here, and that is European Union saying that. For how long we've been wanting to have like eco trade, and it hasn't happened yet. Adequate compensation, whereas the compensation paid. Okay, I can go on and read everything, but guys, I'll share this link in the comment section for you to go through it. If you want to get a knowledge more about these issues, you can guys just go there and read. Let me share with you here. But what I'm trying to say is this: European Union, you have no even right to talk about fairness and all those stuff because, you know, first of all, you colonized us and you took everything from us. And second, even the crown of the Queen Elizabeth II, who just died, it has the diamond right there in the diamond from South Africa. It has never been returned yet, and it's still there. It's still there. Is that fair? Stealing stuff from Africa and still keeping as your own, and you still having your crown right there from South Africa, and it's not even yet returned, and you're talking about fairness? Get the heck out of here, man. But let me say this. I don't want to disregard the local people in that area as well. So one thing that I will say, this project before done, I believe that there's a lot of research have been done. There's a lot of things have been done. If it is compensation, if everything, I believe there's a lot of things have been done. And I wish I can get people from Uganda. If there's anyone from Uganda here, let me know in the comment section because I'm going to invite you here to talk a little bit about this. You know what I'm saying? I believe there's a lot of things have been done before that, but someone stopping you from doing your own project for your own people, for your own good, is basically telling you that, you know what, treating you like a little kid, treating you like a slave, that you don't know what is good for you. You don't know what you're doing. Stop doing what you're doing. You haven't done any research. You haven't satisfied. We need to be satisfied. You guys, you need to convince us that what you're doing is right for environmental and for people who are living there. It's human right. Human right again. This is the only time that human right it comes forward. You need to make sure that it's right to be able to do what you want to do. Man, Tanzania, Uganda, Africa, these are free states. They have all regulation. They have everything. I have no idea what the heck European Union, they sit down and start talking about Africa and stopping the projects that are happening in Africa for Africans. I've said here that I'm not disregarding people in those regions. If they're really victims of this project, there has to be the way to protect these people. There has to be, if the people around this project that they have their own houses, their own land, and they haven't been compensated as well as it should, they need to be given. They need to be compensated. They need to receive their rights. They need to be taken care of. Because at the end of the day, yes, we want to develop our continent. We want to do that. But if we harm our people, then what we are doing is for nothing. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm saying that only if that is the case, then I believe I believe in Uganda, I believe in Tanzania, that they will come together and to make sure that these people are being protected. And I know that even by doing this project, they already made sure of that. But you know, all the time when you want to do something good for your continent, for Africa, something that brings two countries together, something that will bring Africa together, something that will bring Africa into another level, they always come and want to stop it. I've spoken about Jared, how much they try to stop it. The good thing is right now, they already started, like the Jared project is already happening. But you know what? There's no shortage of water now, River. There's nothing. Things that they were saying, and that's still, even right now, there's nothing like that. And still the project is moving on. This is the response to accusations like this. For resolutions like this, this is the response. But I'm telling you, the thing that costs us a lot is that we're so divided that European Union, guys, I'm talking about European Union, all those countries coming together to stop project that is happening in Africa for two countries. Guys, where is AU? Where is African Union? Where is African countries to stand together to be like, no more. You have no authority to stop anything that is happening in Africa. If something is going to harm our people, we are going to figure out the way how to save our people. And we have already done it. That's why we're doing this. We are going to do that. But not you, somewhere outside of Africa, coming and tell us to stop the project that we are doing for our people. Guys, not only that, but even here in Tanzania, there's a dam was being built, Julius Kambarage Nyerere Dam, the dam that will produce electricity, excessive amount of electricity in this country, Tanzania, and neighboring countries. You know what they say? The same thing. They say is the land abusing. I don't know if that's the word, but they're like, this is like you're endangering the climate by building this, man. But this, do you guys understand like where these things are coming from? Where these things are coming from? Do you guys understand that? Do you guys understand why we always have obstacles when we want to make major moves to transform this continent? Do you understand why there's always those hindrances? And some of us, we actually fall into that and we stop doing what we are doing. Stopping this project is not an option. An option is to compensate the people that are there, to educate them as much as we can why this project has to happen for our countries, why it has to happen for our countries, and find the way to compensate these people as much as they need, as much as they deserve. That's the option. Not to stop the project. That's the option. I don't want people die because of this project. And I'm saying these things because, again, I really need someone from Uganda. Someone even in Uganda, he's close to this plot. Please let me know in the comment section. I would love to have a conversation just to ask, to know these things in detail, to have that assurance. Because Swahili Nation, One Africa, we always stand on the side of the people. We believe people first before anything else. Before anything else, yes, we want to develop. Yes, we want to transform. But our people, they should always come first. We should consider them. If we want to do a project that is going to affect our people, we have to talk to them. We have to get permission from the people in those regions. Because whatever government that is there is working for the people. When Africa tried to do something on their own, the project that they can transform this continent, when they try to do that, they always come and stop us. But you know what? We are the problem because we give them power to stop us. We are so divided that they can sit there in the parliament and to vote to stop us from doing our work. We give that so much power to them. So much power they have because we gave it to them. We are so divided that we don't have the single say. Okay, the light just gone off. Let me try to fix this. Why the light went off? What just happened here? Okay, I'm gonna need to wait for some few minutes for the lights to come back. So you guys are gonna need to hang in there for a second. All right, we have given them this power to stop whatever project you want to do to stop us. Who the heck are you Who the heck are you to stop something that is happening in the continent that is good for our people? Well, we have given that power to them. We're so divided that someone there stopped these two countries and Africa is remaining silent. You don't say anything. And I'm going to flash back. The same thing when it happened to Jared. To that time, very few people, they stood with Ethiopia. Very few people. Some other countries, they even side up with them to stop it. We're so weak, and we have given those power. That's why they have this confidence to say whatever they want to say. I'm telling you, Africa is supposed to be untouchable. It's supposed to, for you, if you want to say something about Africa, you're supposed to think twice, like, what am I going to say? Because this continent is dangerous. It's dangerous because they're one, they're united, they're determined, and nobody can stop them to do whatever they want to do when they put their mind and their unit into it. We need to put our mind, our units, our everything into it to do things like this. We need to have that oneness that will be untouchable. EU, you're voting against this? Oh, AU, we are doing it. What are you going to do about it? You still want our uranium? You still want our golds? You still want those materials, I forgot their names, that they use to create these phones from Congo? You still want it. You still want Safari to come to Africa? What are you going to do? Are you going to put sanction on all the entire continent of Africa? You ain't going to do that because we are united and we have the single voice, you have the same voice, and you ain't going to do nothing about it. You ain't going to do anything about it. We have given them power. Us being divided, it's giving them power to walk over us every time they want. It's ridiculous. It doesn't make sense. I've been thinking about this again and again and again. Who the heck are you to stop us? Who the heck are you even to vote that? You have a lot of issues in you. Deal with the war that is going on in Ukraine. Why don't you deal with that? Why? Why you're sitting down and voting for something that is happening in Africa? Man, okay, let me say this. I have nothing against the people of, EU. I want to say that, man, because you never know. In this our movement, sometimes we might get a, let me just say this. I have nothing against you guys, but I'm against this system. This undermining system that over and over and over again is coming back to us. Showing us, not showing us, like acting as if we don't know what we are doing. Walking over us. Stop. You should not do that. Who are you? Are you a dad? Are you the founder of Africa? Did you found this continent? Did you find these countries? Those votes they put is what they've done a lot of years ago when they wanted to divide this continent and colonize it. They went to Berlin and they did those votes. And they divided Africa like a piece of cake. And they came, they colonized this country. They colonized this continent. That's how it happened a lot of years ago. They're doing the same thing today, sitting in their parliament and voting against. And not only voting, but saying that you should stop. Man, it's the same thing. Colonization is still here, guys. It's still here. My question is, what are you going to do about it, Africa? What are you going to do about it, Uganda and Tanzania? Uganda, Yoweri Museveni already condemned it. He condemned it. Kudos to that. All Africans should condemn that, for God's sake. What are you going to do, Africa, about it? Are you going to be constantly stopped like that? Gaddafi wanted to start a single currency in Africa, and he was stopped, and everybody knows what happened to him. Everybody knows. This has to come to an end, Africa. When are we going to wake up and realize that our division is our weakness? We are weaker in their eyes, and they can walk up us and say whatever they want to say to us. Africa, can you stop European Union to do anything they want to do? Can you do that? Do you have power to do that? No, you don't have that power because you're weak and you're divided. I'm telling you, when we are one and we demand something, they're going to listen. Because I'm telling you, we don't need them, but they need Africa. They need Africa. And that's one of the things that I hope our people, I hope our authorities realize that and know that. It's just realization, man. I hope that realization come and know that, actually, they need Africa. They can't survive without Africa. Oh, we don't really need them. What we need, I'm telling you this. Let me see the light, guys. You need to see me. We don't need them. What we need is not them. What we need, what we should have, what we must have is unity. There's no other option. It's one Africa. Either we fall, either we're going to receive this threat every time, either they're going to put sanction. If they refuse that, no, we're going to continue this project. You know what will happen? You have seen what has happened to Ethiopia, and we were here fighting for that. No more fighting for that. Oh my goodness, I'm telling you guys, you touched the wrong button. Africa is the wrong button to touch, because this generation, I have 50 people watching here today. This generation of 50 people, man, we're not just putting our words, all right? We're going to put on actions. And I'm going to open the page right now to invite you guys to come. I want you guys to tell me what action us as an Africans we should take. Yes, we want our leaders to stand tall and to be like, you know what? You ain't going to do this to us. We're not your kids. We're not your kids, and shut the heck up. And let me just cuss just for today. Shut the hell up. Just for today. Let me do that. Shut the hell up. You're not going to work up us. You're not going to do anything. We're going to carry on with this project. We're going to do the way that our people want. We're going to figure out how to do this, and we're going to do it. Shut the hell up. Get out of here. I hope that's what they will say. I hope that's what they will say. Museveni already said that. I hope I can see statement from Tanzania as well. But I want to ask you guys who are here, what do you think should be done, us as an Africans, in this matter? They went to parliament to vote, or not all of us are in the parliament right now, but all of us who have voices. What should be done? What can we do? What can we do? What can we do? Strategic moves. What can we do to tell them, hey, you should know your place. This is Africa. This is not Europe. We love you guys as a human being, but when you try to walk over us, we're not going to stay still. You did that a lot of years ago, and you colonized us. And you stole all of our artifacts. You stole all of our artifacts. They're still there in your museums. You want me to start talking about that? And you're talking about fairness? Bring back all the artifacts there in the museums in all those countries. We wrote a letter to you. Guys, you can go on my Instagram. You'll find the letter there I wrote. No, not Instagram, Twitter. We wrote the letter, and it's right there in front. It's right there in front. We wrote the letter to them. And this is our mission. We wrote a letter to them that, hey, bring back our artifact. You want to talk about us destroying climate change? You want to talk about us being fair to the citizen? Fairness? Are you serious talking about fair? European Union, you're talking about fair? Seriously? Fair? What kind of fair are you talking about? It's like this, the word fair I know about, or what are you talking about? And why does it bother you so much? Why does it bother you so much that we have this pipeline going? Why does it bother you so much? Because the reason, obviously, it's not climate, obviously. It's not about that. It's something else. Why are you so bothered about it? Why? Oh, now I understand. Man, Chinese, they're investing in these projects. Damn Chinese. How can you get rid of these people? You can't get rid of them as well in these projects. All right, guys, let me open this page again. And for those who are coming right now, let me tell you guys, please like this video. This video, it needs to go out there to as many people as they can. They need to see this. They need to watch this. I'm going to open the room right now for you guys to come and to share your opinion. What should we do? Of course, you can give a suggestion as the authorities in Africa, and also as the people, what should we do? And let me just say this. Why I'm against this? Because you have no authority, you as European, to tell us what to do and what should not do done to our own countries, to our own continent. That's first thing. The second thing, what I'm saying to our government, that governments, if the problem is people, if their lives are in danger, and if you haven't done them well, you need to do them well. You need to reconcile. You need to care about people more than this project. That's my stand. People first before anything else. You, European Union, Get out of here. Okay, leave us alone. And then, so now I'm coming to address to our countries and our authorities. People should come first before anything else. And I believe before this project, that's why it took a long time, because they had to double check that. So people should be compensated fully and fairly, and lives of people should not be put to danger. If those two factors are well done, this project should never stop. Don't even think about it. And you know, people to stop, not European Union, but us Africans. Because if that's the case, even me here, I will come and say that we should stop doing it. I'll come here to do that. The wrong thing in this is you, European Union, trying to stop us. Who the heck are you? You can't stop us. This is not 7 years ago, 70 years ago. It's not. This is today, 21st century, baby. It's not. We don't need you. Don't need you. We don't need someone who is acting like a father every single day. We have a word like that in Korea called kunde. It's those old people who always want to do something like, oh, I'm older than you. You have to do this. You must do this. You must do this. No, come on. I don't need to do anything. I don't need to do anything. That's the reason why I never wanted to be employed. That's the reason why I walk away from my job, because I was like, man, I'm done with this thing. Don't want to be commanded all the time to do and to work for something that I don't even believe in. Spend my all energy working for some vision that I don't even understand. And at the end of the day, when you reach 60, you're gone, and then somebody else come and take your place. Do everything you've been working for 50, 30 years. I'm talking about my mom. She worked like for 30-something years as a teacher. She retired, man. I look at the money she received. I say, Mama, one day I'm going to make this money and give you in one day. You work for like almost 40 years, and you receive this amount of money? What a joke. I said, Mama, I'm going to make this money. That's why I said this. I'll tell you guys this today. I'm going to be a billionaire. And once I become a billionaire in 30 years of age, I'm going to give the whole money to my mom. She worked for almost 40 years. And anyways, I don't want to change this topic. That's my stand. We're addressing to them that, hey, shut the hell up, okay? Get out of here. And then the second to our people, that if our people have been affected by this, no, people should come first. All right, figure out the way to save these people. If you want to move them to another region, make sure that you compensate them as good as it should be. And make sure that you sit down with them. Make sure that they decide willingly to do that. If they decide willing, that's cool. As long as there's no interference of outside, that's why we say no more, that you're not going to interfere on our businesses. So you understand? That's my stand. Now I'm going to open the room for you guys to come. And I'll say this, guys. If you come, I'll give you time to talk, to pledge your thoughts. Make sure that you already have what you want to say. You pledge that, because we might have a lot of people that want to come and to talk. So I'll give you that chance to do that, and then we'll continue to have other people coming and speak. All right, it's very important. And you guys, you understand, that's where we're basing on. So you come here, of course, EU should not say anything about anything that is happening in Africa. Anything that is happening in Africa, we as Africans should say it. That's first thing. Second, because Africa is for Africans. Second, we should always care about our people. So if our people are in danger, that should be our priority, their people. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm saying this because I don't have full information about this. And that's why I want to have somebody from Uganda to talk here. If I can have someone from the government side to talk about this, I would highly appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? I'll highly appreciate it. And right now we're registered. So, man, I hope, man, we have those offices. Because, man, I'll go to the government and ask them to give me somebody that can come to speak, because we are already registered. I hope we had offices, because I cannot bring, the government, a person here in my house or something. No, you come to the office and, hey, we need to talk about this. What is the bottom of this? That's why guys say, give us office, all right? Help us to get office to be able to do these things. Because, man, we ain't scared of anything. We're building our Africa, and nobody's going to stop us. You understand what I mean? Nobody's going to stop us. We're building our Africa. I already have somebody on the line here. My brother Wallace, all the way from Kenya. I'll have my brother here. My brother, welcome. How are you today?
I'm doing good, my friend. Good to see you. I can see today you are riled up, and it's with good reason. Actually, I've seen a petition on the internet I think I've shared the link. I can share the link again. And they have pulled it down. I believe they have pulled it down because it was a petition that was denouncing that move by the European Union. I've shared the links on the screen on the stream. You can see the link there. There's a petition that was actually just saying denounce EU Parliament resolution to halt EACOP. And we were about to get to 1,000. We needed quite a number of signatures. But they pulled it down before I could get to it. That's an article from Le Monde, is a French newspaper that was talking about that pipeline. I think one of the things we need to realize as Africa, our weakness is that our technology is dependent on the West. And if you can look at that article, you see it is a French company that was executing that project. So what happens is if they pass something in the EU, a French company is forced to obey the EU. But you can imagine if this technology and this knowledge, the know-how to do the pipeline was fully Africanized. We can do pretty much what we want. Like China doesn't need anybody's help to do anything. Nor does Europe, you understand? But as long as we are an Africa that when we want even to explore our own mineral deposits, we must have a foreign company from Europe or the US or Canada or Australia come and do the implementation for us, then what they decide in their government can end up affecting our development. So
that's true.
So if you look at it, Total Energies is a French company. Okay. So what happens is if the EU goes to their parliament and they tell you are our company, we want you to first halt this thing. We're going to throw a fit because we are not happy, but their French company will obey their government. It will obey the EU. In other words, we can't go to our Tanzania and Uganda parliaments and tell them, you must implement this project. They will say, no, we are a French company. Okay. So I think one of the challenges to us as Africans is it is high time that we start investing in our youthful generation and in our brains to know how to do our own things for ourselves. Because as long as our development, our forward movement is dependent on help all the time, what that means is that our advancement is not in our hands. Our advancement is not in our hands. As we say, I think we've had this discussion before. Africa is used to just exporting raw materials. We are not even exporting mostly finished products. And yet finished products are much more worthwhile. Like, for example, Tanzanite is from Tanzania. Maybe when Tanzania sells the ore in raw form, they sell maybe $50 million worth of Tanzanite per year. But the industry worldwide is worth maybe $5 billion or $50 billion. But it's because those are polished, crafted Tanzanites. They are proper gemstones. So as long as you're selling raw material, you get lowest price. The person is buying your minerals in carats, in weight, based on weight. But same, let's say gold, and make a gold chain. How many gold chains do you believe 1 kilo of gold makes versus you exporting a kilo of gold?
Come on, man.
As a block of gold. So that's our challenge as Africa. Yes.
Let me tell you this. Let me tell you, just today, my friend who is actually he's already he's in the sector of mining. He's starting to he's opening company like millionaire company for gold mining. He came here home. We had a discussion for 2 hours, and we're talking about this sector. Even here in Africa, most countries, a lot of people that have taken these sectors, the people from the outside, they're making billions of money. Billions of money. And the local people, because they don't even, some of them don't even have knowledge to it, they get a little bit of money, not even millions. They get that, and they take it away. Not only here, but everywhere. You can go everywhere, everywhere in Africa.
That is the challenge for Africa. Africa, what we should have done is the moment we became independent, we should have invested brains and some people to learn how to do our own mining for oil, drilling for oil, some to learn how to process our minerals, some to take. We have the brains. There's no difference between the brain in any human being. Caucasian brain, white brain, Asian brain, African brain. It's the same. We have the same potential to be as intelligent and to do anything we want to do. But as long as we have this mindset where we think, let's be done for, let's be assisted. We're exporting raw materials to make mobile phones. We don't make our own mobile phones. We don't make our own laptops. Does it make sense that we know how to repair phones, we know how to repair laptops, we know how to repair cars, but we can't make one from scratch?
My brother, let me stop you right there, because I need to show you this. I need to show you this. I uploaded this video today, and I need to show you guys. If you guys haven't seen this video, the video that is my thoughts on this European Union something, let me share with you guys here in the comment section. You can go and watch it. But I want to show you this one part. This one part that what you were saying is what they're talking about here. Okay, that's me, but very soon you'll see this guy, all right? Let me play this part a little bit. This video and you'll understand what I'm trying to say.
The only way it can earn the US dollars is not to be assassinated for growing its own food and becoming independent and doing something that the United States does not like. The principle underlying the foundation of the World Bank, the International Bank for IBRD, research, the World Bank, is that no country should grow its own food. Africa and the third world should only grow export crops. To export, in order to have an oversupply of cocoa and other tropical raw materials, to keep down the price, they must buy their grain from the United States or Europe, so that if they do something that we don't like, we can do what America tried to do to China in the 60s. We can sanction them. We can say, we're going to starve you. We're going to not export any grain to you. So owing their foreign debt in dollars means that they have to somehow sell something that the United States wants, not what they want. I think the most evil organizations in the world today are the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. And my book, Super Imperialism, that I wrote in 1972, is all about that.
Africa keep...
Exactly.
Those are not my words. Those are words of Michael Hudson, all right? This is what you were saying. What you're saying, that Africa should be able, and again, I understand this, Africa should be able to produce all these things by ourselves and actually transport or export the end product, not really the raw materials. Right? And that's why our brother Max is partnering with us with this eco-trade system, because when you export raw materials, the price of raw materials is nothing compared to the price of the end product that they earn. Exact finished product. And how do they stop us like that? They're stopping us by, for example, you have Ethiopia building Jared to produce electricity. They say no. You have this pipeline coming to it. They say no. You're building anything that can actually give you, like, how can I say, resources that you need to have your own industries, to run your own industries, or to run your own technology. They say no to that. They'll put sanction on you just like that, so that you may continue to fully depend on them. You give them deals like that, even if it's pipeline, you see, like, it's their company doing that, so that when they want to stop you, they can just stop you like that, and they don't do anything, and you just stay there because you're just there. You depend on them, and you can't do anything about it.
Actually, there's been an effort to keep Africa dumb on the basics of how we do even our road construction. Like the Chinese have been doing a lot of road building in Kenya. But there are portions of the road when they're doing flyovers and that kind of stuff that they do not allow the African workers to be around when they're doing it. So pretty much they don't want to transfer the knowledge. They want you to remain dependent on them to build your roads for you. So we need to understand as Africa that this world is not feeling any obligation to be fair to us. They've never considered Africa to be filled with human beings as equal creatures before God with them. So they always figure that, how do we keep Africa at a disadvantage? And we play into their game when we don't have a proper effort to make sure that, because we have the brains, we have how many Africans are in the United States or in Europe or in Korea, as you're saying, and they are excelling in their studies. They are being valedictorians in their universities because they have the brains. What we need to do is to have as I said, a reverse brain drain where the sharpest African minds still come back home and they transfer technical skills, technical knowledge, how to do things, how to create, manufacture things. We need to go and to shift from the old ways of doing things as Africans. Because, for example, when we are very dependent on energy, and energy is fundamental to any economy. If we do not know how to build our own dams, if we don't know how to create our own solar panel cells from silicon, and we're depending on somebody out there to make it for us, if for any reason they have a malicious intent towards us, they are going to play around with our energy. Exactly. As that guy has said, what determines the value of a currency? It is the West that determines the value. So if they keep our currencies weak and their currencies strong, they can always buy our things cheap. They'll buy them on the cheap because their money is stronger than ours. Okay, but how come our minerals? And that's why they don't like money being based on gold, because they know if Africa pulls together its gold and it puts the value of its money on that gold, our money will be much more powerful than their money is. We'll be able to buy any of the technology on the cheap. We'll have flipped tables. So ideally, what needs to happen is we need to go from a victim mentality into a place where we become proactive. We say we are going to learn how to do our own things for ourselves. South Africa is pretty advanced. I mean, they've been doing their own helicopters, for example. They've been doing their own stuff. But, of course, in their population, there's also Caucasians. They are white South Africans, okay? But ideally, it means we can manufacture things in Africa. There are things that have been done in Egypt. We have the brains to do and to move forward. What we need to do is to get serious and say, we are going to pull together. We are going to speak as we speak one language, or as we come together, we will say we'll be standing together on issues. We cannot be stopped from developing. If they do not want us to build something, they must have a better alternative. You don't come and tell somebody, don't develop your life, and you don't have a better alternative than that thing which you're stopping them from doing. So our challenge is, yes. So I think let's have, we need a stopgap measure, which means this is an emergency, something needs to be done, but we must have a long-term vision. You need to realize that with Western countries and real companies, they have even 100-year visions. They can see a century into the future.
Exactly.
Okay? They have a long-term plan. You say, for now, I don't have an option. I can't do this for myself, but I want in the next 50 years to be at a different level as Africa, to be at a different level as a continent and as a people. But for now, as long as the French company is the one, I don't know if you can click on the second link, it's the one to the petition. You'll see the petition was pulled down. There was a petition that people were pulling together to slam the European Union Parliament.
And then they took it down.
They took it down. Actually, the message on it right now is saying something like, if you go to it,
let me share here.
It reads something like, this petition has been disabled because of inappropriate content. Our complaint.
That's what
exactly. Our complaint is inappropriate content.
Right here. That's what they always say.
There you go.
Has been disabled because of inappropriate content. If you created this petition, you can sign into the site to access your dashboard. Learn more.
Now you see, as long as that website is within their control, we can't do what we want on their website. But if we put it on our site, though also, even if we put it on our site, they control the domains. Domains are controlled from the US.
And they control the servers as well.
There you go. So ideally, you can always find your website has been packed, or it's been blocked. So that's why I'm saying we have the brains to be as advanced. We do not have a superiority complex, but we should not have an inferiority complex. We should not feel less than.
Exactly.
We are equal.
Let me say this. When we were working, and I have my brother here, another brother is right here with me. So after saying this, I'm going to put him in and he's going to contribute as well. We're working on our website for like 6 months. What was the idea I had is that, okay, this website, it should be something that we create from the scratch. Everything, we have to own everything. But then at the end of the day, you have domain, as you say, but as well as server. So I even went further to talk, to these guys that are developing this website that, hey, we need to find our own server. How can we create our own server? And then he found out that it's something that it can take like a long time to create, which is fine. like because our plan and everything is for more than 5 years. It's 400 of years, 200 years. So right now, yes, exactly. And right now, as I'm saying, man, I hope even you guys are listening here, if you guys are knowledgeable about something like that, this is something that in the long run, it's already planned, that we need to come up with our own servers so that at the end of the day, we control our own narratives and everything. We don't want to leave that to only Microsoft or all these different companies to have, because they're going to still control us anyways, because they own those stuff already. But when are we going to wake up and we have brilliant mindset that they're working for Microsoft, they're working for Apple, they're working for all these good company, in the US, in the UK, and all over the world. These people, they can actually come together and create. And us, Swahili Nation One Africa, we're going to pull out that team together to create our servers. Even if it takes 5 years, we're going to create it. One day, we're going to be in fully control of our own narratives and everything that we have. Let me put in my brother here, Mwenda Tezi. My brother Mwenda Tezi, welcome back, man. It's been a long time. It's a pleasure to have you here. It's good to see you here, my brother. Come on.
Yeah. Thank you, Mika. Can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You're clear.
It's been a while. Hello, my brother, Mr. Wallace. How are you?
Hello, Mr. Tezi. Mwenda Tezi. Pleasure to meet you.
I have two brains from Kenya here. Come on, man.
Yeah. Actually, what I wanted to give is a different perspective. I understood the issue with the EU determining that their companies will not drill oil in Uganda. I understand that, but there is also this perspective I wanted just to give, because I know people are not talking about it, but they are actually Ugandans. I've seen this is something I've seen. Ugandan activists who have been against this deal. It's not so I know that maybe they are the minority, but usually I've been seeing from day one. I've been seeing them. Like one of them is called Vanessa Nakate. I don't know. She's a very huge environmentalist. She's been talking about how it crosses 12 rivers, how Lake Kivu might get polluted, and all that. And she even gave the example of Nigeria. Personally, I think this deal should go on because it's good for East Africa. I think it's for having even just look how oil is being, how we are being, our economy is just, the price of oil can really destroy our economy. So having oil for ourselves is a big deal. But we should also see that some people are very worried about the land. I think what the EU have done is it's a political decision, because these guys have been protesting this deal for more than a year now. I don't know why they have decided it for it now. Maybe I don't know what's changed in the global geopolitics that now they have decided. But there are people who have genuine, they are apart from the EU, there are people who are genuine, just Africans like me and you, who are actually against this deal. Also, but me personally, I don't think also this is a good opportunity. I think there's a silver lining, because I heard President Museveni say that it's going to go on. And me, the way I saw that deal, I don't think it was a good deal. I think Tanzania and Kenya and Uganda were both only getting 15%. Only getting 15% of whatever. So maybe it's a silver lining, maybe a new deal, or even us, because, invention comes from necessity, right? Now that we have been told that the Europeans are not building for us, maybe now this is the opportunity for us to use our own brains, and maybe we might surprise the world. And because I feel like the countries are determined, so there is political will. So we might surprise the world, and we can just have Africans build our own pipeline here, and it becomes like they say what God's plan. Maybe it was meant for us to build it, not Europeans. You may never know. But
Monetezi, what you're saying is so true. I went to Dubai and I saw this one company. This is one of the biggest companies in the world. Like just the net worth is like how much was it? It was like more than, if I'm not mistaken, it was like something like 500 billion USD. That's the net worth. This company called NOMORE. If you've been to Dubai, I think you've seen a lot of buildings, like almost all the buildings in that city of Dubai, they have like Omar name, like Omar. It's built by this company. And you know who is the owner of this company? They're the people. Like all the people in that particular region, like in the UAE, they have their shareholder in this company, and it has like they transform that city through this one company that everybody has an ownership. Like a majority of people in the country, they have an ownership, and they've done it. So if Ethiopians, just Ethiopia here, they build this dam with a lot of billions of dollars, you know, with their own money, without any support from anywhere. Something like this, some people, they're getting out. It's a time for us to come together and to build it, to do it by ourselves. You know, we have a lot of figures, you know, in Africa that have a lot of, you know, like they, even if you don't have, I mean, you can still invest, you know, anyway. We have like big names like Dangote and some other African billionaires in Kenya. In East Africa, there's more billionaires in Kenya than any other countries in East Africa. That's the fact, right? You have Nigeria, you have South Africa, you have all these Africans. If they come together and put their shareholders, say like, you know what, we want this deal. You know, at the end of the day, the money and the profit that is coming is going to our people, to Africans, and it's for the African. And before, when I was talking about this, I addressed that thing that you said. I addressed clearly, I say that, you know, if I have someone from Uganda, I would love to have talked to them, because if this project is really going to harm people, we need to stop doing this project is not an option, but we need to figure out the way how not to harm our people through this project. If it is environment, we need to figure out the way, because there's always a way out, but stopping is not an option, because this is too good for our people. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing that I mentioned at the beginning. And I hope we can help you to come here. But also, on the other side, I really do hope that the activists that we have and people who are standing against this, they're really genuinely concerned about people, and not those people that we always have in Africa, who they're always being used, you know what I'm saying, to stand against something, to start something against our own people. Like our own people, they betray us by standing against our own people, our own leaders, our own decision to represent somebody else outside of the continent. Because for that also, we need to be aware. We always have those people. We have always been having those people. We will always have those people. So if they just genuinely concerned, then they know the option. They can give an option. We can give an option as the people, that we need to protect our environment. We need to protect our people. How are we going to do it? Then we need to have a facility that will be strong enough not to burst just in the midst of the ocean and pollute all the water, and we're not going to have fish anymore, or, destroys, people's life and all this stuff. We need to, there's always a way to prevent these things from happening, but stopping can never be the way. So the concerns that you raised, Mwenetezi, I think it's really important. That's why I wish I can have like someone from the government side and someone, just a local ordinary folk, who is actually really genuine concern about these issues that are happening, because it's very important to hear both sides and also to make, to make our own conclusion at the end of the day. Yes, Mwenetezi, you can keep going.
Yeah. Actually, I think there's also this perspective. I don't know, my brother Wallace, I don't know if he heard about the trade deal that the UK is trying to compromise. It gave Kenya an ultimatum, because East Africa, we had agreed on a specific tariff for imports, and UK began to threaten Kenya that they want their imports duty free, and the East African had agreed that we will have this, just to improve or to grow our own industries, right? So we're having an issue where Europe is flexing, or his muscles or something. I don't know, because somebody here just said, Alema Said, he said, why not? And this is something actually we should do, because Congo has a lot of minerals that are useful for phones. You said we should sanction them. Say, what? East Africa can just say, okay, well, we sanction them the way Russia is doing them, the way Russia has been doing them, giving them inflation. We can also give them inflation with our phones. We say, no, you're not making phones.
Come on, man. They'll beg us. They'll come to beg us that please, okay, whatever you want to do, man. I wish our people have that courage to do that, because Congo is in the East African community, and somebody here just said, he said, and yet it's okay to have a pipeline from Russia to Germany and the rest of Europe. This is what we're talking about.
And it's through the sea. It also goes through the sea. I think in agreement with my brother Tezi, yes, Africa tends to be bullied a lot. And what happens in life, and especially in this world community, if you don't have monetary clout, it's very hard to respect you. And also if you don't have military clout, they don't mess with you and they figure you can fight back. And then also they don't mess with you if they know you're rich, because you have the power to affect the economies if you so wish. So for now, these guys, of course, they want their goods to come into Africa with as low tariff as possible. Actually, the UK was recently also angry when there was a suggestion in Kenya that we stop bringing in what are called mitumba, second-hand clothes. I think I mentioned this before in one of our sessions, that they were very mad that Kenya was considering no longer importing their throwaways to resell to our people. So in other words, we've become like a dumping ground. What do we do with our old clothes? No problem. Africa will buy them and sell them to their people. So when you say we are going to work on our textile industries and just have our population wearing new clothes, it becomes a problem to them. They are wondering, now what do we do with our old clothes? Okay. So Africa, we have to raise our own self-respect level. As you're saying, DRC has just joined the East Africa region, which means if we are working as a unit as East Africa region, for example, our resources just went through the roof. Remember, we have South Sudan. South Sudan also has oil. It's part of the East Africa region, In fact, I always wonder how come Ethiopia and Somalia are not part of the bloc. But those are geopolitics. But the idea is we need to have that element of saying, let's invest. The most powerful fixes in life are not quick fixes. They're not. They're well strategized. They're well thought out. For now, all we just need for them to get is that you will not bully us as you wish. But our brother has brought on a very good dimension of the situation, that we need more light from people on the Ugandan side as well, from the people who are affected by where the pipeline will cross. Because we know in Africa, a lot of times our governments and our leaders are not very generous with people from whom they are taking land. If anything, like for example, when we're having our Lamu, I think we were doing a bypass. A lot of politicians bought the blocks of land that were supposed to be en route for the road to pass, which is very strategic. They want to buy it cheap from the people and then sell it back to the government as an avenue for where the road should pass or where a pipeline should pass. So I think the important thing for us is to go beyond, after we've vented our concerns and we have made our complaints, to come up with a long-term plan where we say, which brains do we have at the moment? Why aren't we in control of these technologies for ourselves? Like now, if we say we want to build this pipeline for ourselves, do we know how to cast those? Those are huge pipes that are interconnectable, that are supposed to go underground, and there's technology to manage it. It's not managed, it's managed maybe with fiber optic cable, so that if there's a leak somewhere, how do you quickly spot where the leak is? How do you repair it? So you see now it's just boiling down to a level of competence as far as your technological advancement as Africans is concerned. Can you do everything you need to do for yourselves? Can you make your own clothes so that you don't have to wear second-hand clothes? Can you grow your own food? For goodness sake, when we hear grain reserves are mainly the biggest producers of wheat are Russia and Ukraine. So now when they're fighting, the rest of the world is supposed to have issues with bread. And we're growing our own wheat in Africa. And
now Ethiopia they does.
You get? So the idea is, if we can feed ourselves, if we can clothe ourselves, if we can do our own technology, our own phones, our own electricity, then you're truly an independent Africa. But as long as anything that you want that is technological is under the control of somebody else, you're in a lot of trouble. If you want to keep secrets, and all your computer stuff is sent to you by Huawei, the Chinese company. They can put coding in their stuff that lets them hack into your system. So you can really not have any secrets as long as the technology you're using is not homegrown, it's not homemade, it's not home protected. So we just have to outgrow where we are at right now. And I agree with you that there are times there are people who can be paid activists, paid to sabotage something that is progressive. But that's why now we need a proper network, a proper growth of Africa as one people, so that everybody has a chance to truly voice. Because there are people who say, I'm talking for the people on the ground, but they've never even been to the ground and they're opposing something. Yeah, but we give them the benefit of the doubt. If there are some Ugandans complaining about the pipeline, it should be investigated and really confirmed. Do these people have a genuine concern? And as you've said, there are times you want technology, but the technology is being made for people, not people for the technology, or for the development. So if it's going to cause more harm than good, then we have to think of, does it have to take a longer route to get? Because remember, at the end of the day, a pipeline, they try to make it go through the straightest path possible for the sake of affordability. But that's pretty much it. But I think Africa, let's learn to do things ourselves. It will take some time, but how long does it take? 20 years, 30? It doesn't take forever.
And well, what you're saying, it's very crucial. It's very important. And I want to say this, like, we're gonna do things on our own. This current system that we're dealing with, it might be really hard to change because they're already in the system. But the days are coming, and we're gonna be in charge very soon, because these things they're gonna turn around very soon. And I'll just tell you this: this is the exclusive, but the plans that we do have about everything to be done in Africa, if it is business, if it is whatever, everything that we have, it's based on us. Like, we want to own it, we want to run it, we want to call the shots, we want to have shareholders, we want to do that. Those are the plans that we have, that we are writing, that we have, that we're working on to take control of our own narratives. If it is mining, if it is oil, if it is whatever, if it is school, if it is hospitals, we are going to build it by example, by showing it example. We're going to bring together, because most of things like this, they're not done because of finance, But how many Africans we have in the diaspora that wants to invest in the continent? Or how many we have diaspora that are investing in the continent right now, that they have money, they just want ideas, they just want opportunity, to do something about it. And that's the thing that we are working on right now. Like, the things that I'm not going to be able to say it here, maybe I'll say
that's understandable.
Exactly. Maybe I'll talk here in the next year, but this thing that it's just crazy that we're working on right now, that it's going to be the game changer, because we need to start taking authority and ownership on our own things. We need to own it to be able to.
And I think it boils down something we've had a similar topic before, or a topic that covered leadership. And we said the importance of leadership is you need leaders that are not traitors, that do not think of their pockets first. Because as long as you have leaders who can be bought out, it's very hard to develop Africa, because as long as we have parliaments where, as long as you have the money, you can vote. You'll have a vote go your way, because you'll bribe the parliamentarians. You give them enough money, they'll vote however you want. So there's that dimension of integrity. If we're going to change the future, beginning with ourselves, we have to become servant leaders, beginning with ourselves. Because now you see, leadership for development in Africa is driven by outsiders. It's driven by the West. You must see a Japanese NGO coming to Africa saying, we want to build for you this, or we want to build for you that. Why aren't we leading ourselves to say, we need this in our country? How do we execute it? If we don't know how to do it, who can help us? And we need to learn as they build it. The agreements must include transfer of knowledge, know how to maintain, know how to expand. Okay, but ideally now all this is boiling down to leadership. We do not understand. Our mistake in Africa is our leadership too often has been the biggest noisemakers. We discussed this before, are the ones we think we should put at the forefront. But in Swahili, but there's that element that they say empty vessels make the most noise. There are times what you need is learn to be able to identify the best community leaders in your community. That when they go to parliament, they vote out of conviction, they vote out of principle. So, for example, like if you are in parliament, you felt that this pipeline is going to harm the lives of many people, you would refuse out of principle. But somebody without principle, they would start complaining in parliament. Then somebody would see them during the break, maybe during the lunch break, and tell them, hey, we'll give you this $100,000, just change your vote. And most people will agree. They'll convert it to local currency and they'll see like, whoa, this is a lot of money. And that's the challenge. We need to have leaders of integrity. That is why you see integrity is of such high value abroad. You see people resigning their jobs because of small infractions, okay? But in Africa, leaders can be caught with the worst cases and they still refuse to resign. Okay? Yeah, they refuse to resign. In Japan, you can be caught, the prime minister can be caught with a small scandal, be so embarrassed, he commits suicide. They call it Harry, you know that, isn't it?
Yeah.
In the West, look at America, it might have a lot of radical things happening in the States. But when it comes to election time, the number one thing Americans want in their leader is integrity, which is why they can find out you smoked dope 20 years ago and you end up not being president of the United States because of lack of integrity. Okay? So we need to say in Africa, integrity is the prime thing in our leadership, because then we will not compromise. If we decide this thing is not harming anyone, everybody has been well compensated, it is beneficial to these two East African countries to have this pipeline, we know how to do it, we would proceed with it without any question and any reference to anybody beyond saying this is what we are doing and it's done. But for now, we have that thing where there are times, as you said, you're not, there's protests, but you also need to double check. Are the protesters operating from integrity? Is this, if it's actually the situation, then we listen to them. We need to have it. So integrity falls into even our construction. Like now, when we say we are having our roads in Kenya done by Chinese contractors, it isn't that there are no Kenyan contractors, but the fact that Kenyan contractors, a good number of them might be forced to give kickbacks to people. And once you give kickbacks, how do you implement your project when you've given back maybe 30% of the quotation that you have made to kickbacks to whoever is running that ministry? Okay, so that's again the integrity issue. Our integrity issue. I'm not saying the West is perfect. They also have their scandals and all that kind of stuff. But there are times when it can be, you can get an overdose of something to the point where if everybody is on the lookout for what's in it for me, what's in it for me, what's in it for me, your leadership is the same, your contractors are the same, you're really going to struggle to get ahead. But yet in Africa, our original form of community was unity. It was about, I think they tried to call it Ubuntu, which is a South African word, but it was Ujamaa or something in Swahili, isn't it? Unity, together, building something together for the common good. That's why we used to hear the children belonged to the village. Not too long ago, I hear from my parents, you could be punished by anybody in the village as a small child if you are caught doing the wrong thing, because you belonged to the village. You belonged to the community. You are not just a child belonging to your parents. In fact, somebody could punish you and then take you to your parent, and your parent punishes you as well. Okay? But there's that element of, if we have that kind of togetherness, we are not going to compromise on our development or on our leadership or on our progress. But for now, Africa, we need to take on our own leadership. We are being led up to now. Everything we are always following behind. Leadership is essential. People who transform their nations take personal responsibility and corporate responsibility, and they start leading their own future. So I think that's a key step. So as you're making these plans, leadership development, servant leadership development, I believe should be one of the core things that the Swahili nation seeks to establish and strengthen and to roll out. Because again, if you can have all the best knowledge, but if you don't know how to lead yourself, that knowledge will not take you anywhere. Okay, you can be intelligent, but intelligence isn't automatically leadership. Otherwise, the best leaders in the world would be the professors and the scientists. They're not. Leadership is a different dimension. It's the vision, the ability to have a vision, the ability to influence others and inspire them. Like the way now Swahili Nation inspires people. We want one Africa. That is leadership. You're pursuing a common goal. You're seeing something in the future where we are one. We are one continent. We still have our borders, but those are more for administration's sake. But we know we are one continent and we are one people. Okay, but as long as the leadership that Africa has is from the, like now we are called, we've discussed this before, I think, the Commonwealth. Okay, the Queen has passed just recently. She was married recently, but the concept was Commonwealth was about Britain, the UK. The wealth is common for them. You guys send them all the raw materials, they manufacture, they re-export back to you. Okay, how come we never learned how to make Land Rovers? I think they make Land Rovers and Range Rovers and Austin Martins, whatever, all these vehicles. Okay, you export to raw materials, you import cars. And that rate of exchange, you will never climb out of the hole. If they want to put you in a hole for good, they keep lending you money, they keep you enslaved. They keep you lending you money because your raw materials are not able to keep up. The raw material export income is not equal to people who are exporting finished goods. So I think that's what we need to agree on. It's time for personal leadership, corporate leadership to raise its level to a new level of integrity in Africa. We stop having all these. Again, it's a long-term fix, it's not a short-term. We waste so much time in Africa on tribal politics, which tribe is leading, and of course, when they lead, maybe of course historical evidence that people abuse power for their own sake, for their own personal gain, and then it just creates bad blood between the people. You'll find that the political leadership has not really done us good. But that's water under the bridge. The best way to get better is to stop focusing on the past and look toward the future and then say, what's the best actions? As you're saying, as you're asking now, what are the actions we can take immediately? And one of them right now for this matter is, let's get a clearer picture. If we can get that, those few Ugandans who have been protesting, if we can get to hear the voice and get a bit more clarity, then we're making a more informed protest. But long term, let this teach us that Africa needs to start developing its own technology. It needs to have its do things with integrity again, because we can also be mean to ourselves. There are times Africans can be pretty ruthless to their own Africans. That's why we have civil wars. That's why we had genocides, which we choose to forgive and forget, like in Rwanda. But let there be integrity where we do not have a leader who is going to harm fellow Africans in their millions for the sake of some sort of financial gain for himself and his cronies. So I think that's it. Leadership, we cannot forget leadership. And as we build the Swahili nation, that is not something that we should compromise on, because at the end of the day, wrong leadership, we go the wrong way. Right leadership, we go the right way. Yeah. So I don't know. Yes. Those are my thoughts for now.
Okay, thank you so much, Wallace. We're going to take a break like for 1 minute, and then when we come back, I'll start with Mwenda Tezi. I'd like you to contribute to what Reggie is saying here. He says Africa must also come together militarily to protect herself from the West because they don't accept not having their way. And somebody here commented earlier today as well. We're talking about us sanctioning people from taking those minerals from Congo, and someone commented here. He said they only said they will mobilize their military in Congo and take whatever they want because unlike Russia, we don't have security. So I think that's a very sensitive topic to talk about, and I think we're just gonna go ahead to talk about that. We'll take 1 minute break, and then when we come back, when the Tezi, you can start dive into that. This moment I miss, Tunija. Tunija will be here, making his noises be heard about these days. We missed him. Where is Tunisia? Anyways, guys, 1 minute break and then we'll be back.
In a competition for speed, no land animal goes faster, and not even a Ferrari can match the acceleration of the sub-Saharan wildcat called cheetah. Sequoias were built for heights, eagles for flight, and cheetahs were built for speed. A cheetah can charge at a maximum speed of 130 km per hour and can accelerate from 0 to 103 km per hour in 3 seconds. Cheetahs are known to have a taste for interacting with safari cars and have been seen to make entrances in safari cars without wreaking havoc on those on board. These flightless birds are the largest aves on Earth and the fastest runners of all two-legged animals, covering up to 5 meters in a single stride and running at speeds of up to 70 kilometers per hour. Their 5-centimeter eyes are the largest of any land animal, and their cheeks the largest of any bird. A hatchling can be as big as a grown-up chicken. Ostriches lay their eggs in communal nests. The females incubate the eggs by day, and the males by night. Their coloration is such that the male will blend with the darkness by night, and the female with the sun by day, giving them a perfect camouflage for incubation. As a habit, ostriches ingest stones and gravels to help in their digestion. On average, one ostrich carries over 1 kilo of stones in one of its 3 stomachs.
Yo, guys, we're back. Welcome, everybody. If you are joining us right now, just know that we are diving into this different kind of topic, and we want to touch this one topic, the last one that 2 people actually raised, and I think it's very important. We've always been talking about that, and it's about security, right? All these things that are happening. Again, I'm saying, Africa, we're weak because we're not united. We cannot say anything. We cannot put sanction on them because we don't even have security, and this is what they only said, and it's really important thing that they'll mobilize their military. They'll come here, whoever they want. If it is, UN, if whatever, they'll come here, and you're not going to be able to do a damn thing about it, because you're very divided, and we don't invest in our security as well. So we cannot do anything but just to accept whatever that is coming, whatever bullshit they're bringing on our table. We need to accept, and we do that. I'm sorry for cursing, but let's hear from Monetezi. Monetezi, what will be your take on this?
Yeah, this all these issues I think are all related. When we talk about the military, I feel like we're not going to be independent. People will push like for military spending and all that, but I feel like if we don't make our guns, if we don't make our weapons ourselves, through our own industrialization, we're not really going to be that secure, because you find that you still have to buy these things, and as been demonstrated by Russia, as long as you can make these things yourself, then you can have true independence, So even you can see it in Russia and China and obviously USA. So in the end of the day, the only way we can achieve security is through industrialization. It's through technology, as my brother Wallace has said. In fact, you said something that was very interesting about Kenya having the most millionaires in East Africa or something like that. And I don't like these millionaires of Kenya. When you talk about millionaires, maybe let's say in the West or even in China or leave alone Russia. In China or in the West, you talk about a millionaire, like usually they are captains of industries, right? You like Elon Musk, this is his industry. Bill Gates, this is his industry. This is what he is. This is how he got. Jack Ma, this is his industry. But here, I don't like these millionaires of Kenya where their source of wealth is always vague, and they're usually just labeled businessman. That's the label we give the billionaires in Kenya, that's the businessman, or so you find that I talked about this actually a while back, that in Africa, the rich Africans or the wealthy Africans or the middle class Africans, they don't make their wealth through innovation or through technology or innovate or in industry. They make their wealth through being the buffer between the West and Africa, being the middleman. That's how Africans make their wealth. Especially, you can even see it in Kenya. Somebody called there's an economist that called Kenya a shopkeeper economy. Basically, people were just importers and sellers. We're not. We are just buffers. The people who are businessmen or the people who are wealthy in Kenya, they make money from being the connection between the African market and the Western market. So they don't make money through like manufacturing or all those sorts. Very few of them. Most of them are just basically glorified importers or corrupt politicians. Even the tourist. A good one is the tourism industry. Basically it goes back to colonization actually. Basically, what the colonizer left, like we're just still here pleasing him. That is the industry that is thriving, the industry that pleases we are here to take care of the Mzungu when he comes as a tourist. We are showing that's the biggest industry in Kenya because it's the industry that will, the middle class that was left by the Mzungu is the same one, So you find that in the 60 years of African independence, I doubt that there is any industry there's no new industry that was not left behind, that has popped up like, oh, look at this. There are very few, if there is any. But that's why I'm not a big fan of millionaires. On these statistics talk all about millionaires in Africa who you can't identify their source of wealth, or their source of wealth is importing. It's not genuine. And these are the people actually who are letting us down, really, because at the end of the day, you talked about military. In the US, you can see the military. It's privatized. It's what all these weapons are made by private companies, and they sell it to the government, or there is that independence. Even in China, these weapons are made maybe by the Chinese government, but they are made by Chinese people, right? You can see even in Russia. I think even Russia, they are made by a government-owned company or something like that, public. So these are the things that we need to talk about as Africans, that all of this is just rooted in our ability to create our own things. We start creating our own things, all these other things will just fall in line. All these military ambitions will fall in line. Otherwise, we'll just be, there's no security. Like even if you import all these guns, you're not really secure. Once there is a fighting somewhere, your economy takes a hit. Because I know this war in Russia, this war in Ukraine was is being a little bit controversial. But what I've been found very eye-opening, I don't know if you guys have seen, is how the Russian economy is still standing. It's not. It might take over. It's really shielded. It has really been shielded because they make their own weapons. Because and in fact, they have been selling more oil. You see how it was just a very interesting demonstration of what independence should be looking like. What independence looks like. Like when you can give me all these sanctions, but because I make my weapons, I can still sustain this war, or we can still maintain our security without importing all sorts of. Because I'm sure if they were importing guns or importing bullets or importing weapons, it would have been a different issue. Even though you can even be sanctioned and you never get those things. So yeah, basically, my point is, at the end of the day, we need to build our own industries. We need to inspire. In fact, not even build our own. We need to incentivize innovation. Incentivize people investing in manufacturing. All these issues. These are the issues that really. I know they are usually not very sensational to talk about, but these are the issues that really change everything. Like what are the incentives for people to manufacture? like the one we talked about, the tariffs for external East Africa. That's a good way to, in the end of the day, it will go and a good step. It will be a good step into ensuring our industries grow, and when the industries grow more and more, there'll be more capital to invest in even weapons making, because already basically that's my point.
Oh, thank you so much, Monotez. That's such a great point, and I appreciate you for saying that. So while we're doing this live stream, kudos to Hamoud Creator. He sent me the link actually of one of the media here in Tanzania. They were actually talking about this 2 days ago. I was not aware with this. I think I'm going to watch this as well, and maybe we'll have another follow-up session talk about this. This is the vice speaker of the parliament in Uganda said. You know what they said, EU? They basically told everybody who is part of the EU, they told them not to support this project, to pull back, not to do anything about it because it's not supposed to happen. So basically they say that. And if you're going to do anything, we're not going to support, you're not going to do anything about it. This speaker, he said something very interesting. This is what he said. I didn't know about this. He said, Europe themselves, they have 10% of all the people in the world, just Europe. And he said they have 10%, mind you, 10%, but they release like 25% of the air pollution in the world. 25%. They have 10% of the population in the world, but they release like 25% of the air pollution in the world. Africa, it has 20% of all the people in the world. Mind you, Europe is 10% of all the people, and they produce like 25% of the air pollution. Africa has 20% of people, but you know how much they produce for air pollution? 3%. Look at that. 10% of all the people in the world, Europe, they have, and they produce 25% of the air pollution in the world. Africa has 20%, it's double, but they only pollute 3%. So who is supposed to be stopped? Who should be stopped? You guys, you have your own answers. Those are the numbers. Man, I'm going to listen to this because this interview, it goes all the way to 1 hour. I'm going to listen all of it, and we're definitely going to have another session about this because these are the facts here. And they have like somebody in the studio they're interviewing. Man, this is something we need to talk with the facts. And these are the facts. 10%, 25% you pollute the air. We have 20% and only 3%, man. Only 3%. Who is supposed to be stopped? You guys tell me who are watching here. Who is supposed to stop? Is it Africa or is it Europe? Guys, I just have somebody here in the session. His Excellence Ezra. I'm going to bring him in. It's good to see this brother. He hasn't been joining my session for a long time. This is the first time. I think today God's blessing is showering upon me. Let me bring my brother here to hear his contribution. His Excellence. Look at you, man. You unmute yourself first.
I even forgot to unmute. His Excellency, Mr. Wallace, Mr. Tezi. It's good to be with you, family. It's good to see you guys.
Good to see you.
Discussing family matters, you know.
Oh, yeah. It's good you came along, my brother.
Yeah, great topic, I must say. Regarding the the conversation regarding the first of all, I mean the EU talking about the oil pipeline or the oil project between Uganda and Tanzania. It's I think sometimes we tend to not really put our statements out there. What is our government saying, you know, like in terms of such a decision or such a statement when EU says something about a project that's based in Africa that stands to benefit the African people. What do we say as a people? Do we agree with it, or do we really analyze their statement of what's their concern, the reason behind what's this? The reason why they are sort of flagging this project. And I think when that said something earlier, because I was just listening passively, he said something about like how other nations are also showing their strength as well. Like with Russia, he made an example about Congo, the minerals in Congo, saying we can say, hey, if you want to stop this, we'll also do something, you know. I think sometimes Africa doesn't show its strength. I think it's like we're always on the receiving end. And I think it's time that we also start really taking steps in terms of certain decisions when they are made. We need to have a voice. We need to voice our concern, and we need to tell them that this is where we stand, and this project is going ahead, whether they support it or not. Because oil, for example, it's used by everyone in the world, so we don't really have to worry about their markets. Because I think sometimes some of the projects we don't do them because there's already a market that, like, for example, now there's a big project as well from Nigeria, the pipeline going to Europe. Some people might know about it, even Algeria and Nigeria with the gas projects for Europe. So things like that, where Nigeria can flex its muscle as the biggest economy in the continent to say, if you're doing this, we will also have to rethink our gas to your nations. So I think sometimes as Africans, we need to show that we can be humble, but we are also people. We are also have feelings, we have concerns, and certain things we need to make bold statements and even take action. And we should not really shy away from showing our force. Because if you look at most countries that can stand against other nations, like the so-called EU or the US and stuff, whether they get sanctioned or not, but they making statements say, we've made a decision and we stick with it. And sometimes I think it's a matter of us not fearing to the comforts of what the Western countries or the Western companies tend to showcase or really bring to our nation. And we think this soft life is what we should be striving for, and we should nest those things. So we need to get to a point where we say, if they don't want this project, sorry, I mean, the market is now big. We don't really have to rely on EU and the US to export our stuff. I think we should also be diversifying more in terms of our trades, because that's where we get hammered. We don't really have much say when it comes to the economics, because we have few trading partners, and we have like one or two which are your biggest consumers of your goods or things that you produce in your country. Then you are really like, for example, now let's say Uganda and Tanzania say, I mean, with this project, even if they try to maybe flex their muscle, it might be a case of them having to, America can say, we are blocking, we're not going to import something from your country, of which is maybe a biggest foreign earner for the country. So I think we need to get to a place where we also trade more within ourselves. If we can start trading more within our continent, we'll have a big market. We already have 1.4 billion people on the continent that we should be thinking about. We should not be thinking China needs to consume our oil or needs to consume any of our resources. We need to be thinking Africa first and the world after. Because once we have that market, no one can control Africa once Africa can trade within its borders. Because we don't really need to be crying that, oh, they blocked my market share. I mean, I can't trade this thing to China, or I can't trade this to Europe because I didn't toe the line when they said something to me. So I think we need to get to a point where we need to fast track the integration of our economies in terms of trade, and also start learning, because I think there's also fears amongst us as Africans to trade within each other. We still fear that, hey, this one might dominate me because his economy is way advanced, or he has more companies, or this one is a big economy, he might take over my market. But already we have foreign companies, or even foreign countries that are already in our countries, that have heavily invested in our countries. Why are we not even worried about those countries or those companies that are already in our countries? So I think we need to really start building that the bridge between ourselves, within ourselves. Even the oil, I mean, it's a big collaboration, and it's a good project for Africa, intra-Africa trade, where there's two African nations, because most of this project will have been a case where it's just Uganda and China. I know China is also have a shareholding into that oil project. So in most cases, it will have been Uganda and China signing a trade pact or something, and then that oil is already going to China. There's already a market that's going to consume that. But we need to start building within ourselves to say, hey, South Sudan, you've got oil. Uganda, you just discovered oil. And other nations, I mean, even Somalia, there's talk of a lot of gas and oil in Somalia, in the coast that's not yet explored, even Kenya as well. So those are the places where we need to think, man. Many countries in Africa are even importing oil from maybe Saudi Arabia and other maybe Gulf countries, while we could be importing from our own, amongst ourselves within the countries that are producing oil and gas in the continent. That's just my point, where once we start trading within ourselves, we have a big market for ourselves. Then even economic wise, we can say to the America or whoever, when they want to enforce a certain clause or trying to block us from doing something, we can say, no, this is the decision we are making, whether the technology belongs to them, but we need to also start building capacity. I think another thing is technology, adapting those technologies and really localizing them for our own countries or our own continent, because currently we know that most of the technologies are already mastered by others. But as we are localizing them, we need to now take ownership and really learn from them. And that's the only way we can really have a self-reliance on our own technology, or start owning technology and also be self-reliant on our own technology, because they can always block other things. Just like when we see with Russia, they're blocking certain things, whether it's not just the oil only, they'll take your boiler or something and you cannot do something, you cannot work. So I think that's part of the bigger plan in terms of what do we integrate when we are getting these oil projects, when we're getting these things, what technologies are we also localizing and building capacity and building companies that will really be local and they can build other projects going forward, instead of us just relying on all these multinationals like Total. I think Total also have a shareholding into that project in Uganda. So we need to really make sure that as we are building, as we are integrating, technology is one of the things that we need to really master and really integrate into our learning, into our knowledge base as we are growing as a continent. Or else we'll just keep on saying we are very rich, but nothing will really materialize in terms of us owning the technology and also innovating. I mean, technology comes with innovation, research and development. Those are the things that we also need to be building on. As we are absorbing those technologies, those pipes, those whatever technology that they are using, we also need to start having those research and development structures that can really help us to maintain and build our own as well. That's China. If you look at China also, China was very poor. We know that for sure. But they've made sure that they've mastered everything. Whether we do a replica, it's fine. Look at China in the 90s, how most people used to laugh at the Chinese goods. But today, everyone is consuming the Chinese goods that were consumed back then. You know, they used to make a lot of jokes. I mean, there's songs that I know of that they used to make fun of the Chinese goods. But today, even your most expensive phones are made by the same people that the people used to mock. Even their cars. Some people are still mocking some of the Chinese cars, but give them 5-10 years down the line, people will be consuming more of their cars than even the European cars. So we should not underestimate anything. Even Toyota, I remember I read a story about, I think, Toyota in the US as well, how they also struggled at some point because the Americans were so loyal to the Ford, the Chryslers and stuff, the cars that are more American. But with time, look at Toyota became a dominant company besides just America. And they went to all these developing nations. And China is very smart. They know that the world, not everyone in the world is very rich to afford all these expensive goods. They're going to those developing markets. They are going there, even the Indians as well. They're going to those developing markets. They know that there's a buying power. You know, people sometimes tend to think if people live in slums or live in low income areas, they don't have money. Those people have the cash economy of every country.
True.
And if you look at all these countries that are making or people that really make money, they go to those few places, those really places where there's a lot of people. Even if you've got 500,000 people who live in a place that's called the slum, you know the buying power of that area. Imagine, there's this guy who was making an example about the cash economy, how the power of the cash economy is that, some people, they know that, hey, man, I cannot build a tower and say this is Mika Industries at that point, but they go and say, you know what, there's a slum maybe in Soweto, in part of Soweto, that I'm just gonna open some businesses there. But I know, and the things that I'm going to sell there, I look at the things that they use every day, soap, food, all those things. And you were saying that, that even if they say people live, the American love using the term $1 a day, less than $1 a day, less than $1 a day. I was saying that those things are just nonsense, because you know that even if you say $1, but $1 will be found in those low income or so-called low class areas and stuff. It says if you're selling anything low in mass, you still make more. And you were saying, look at all the Asian guys when they came to Africa. They went to those places. They didn't really go for this all nice places in our cities. They mostly went to those low income areas, but they know that if you sell all the simple goods, you make more in mass, and then they end up expanding and really owning a lot of market share in those areas, because they don't worry about being the top guy or being in a formal sector. They go to those informal sectors. They know there's money there. The cash is there. And most of the money there is not even taxed. So they know they're going there. Their money is not taxed. They're making a lot of money out of those places. So I believe that we need to, my main point is just for us to start trading within ourselves, so that even if somebody sanctions us out of Africa, we can make money within ourselves. We don't need to be sending something outside our market. That's just my short thingy. It was long though.
His Excellence, no, I love that, because we have been here for like 2 hours talking about ourselves. I love that you came, because you remind me back in the days, when he just came, we always had this kind of conversation, really deep talk, and your knowledge and just the way that you address matters is into another level. You know what I'm saying? And I'm learning a lot from you. So look, let me ask you this question down here that I have. I want you to answer that question for me. By Deborah Daadi. And then
can I comment on something?
Yes. As he thinks about this.
As he thinks about the first is to agree with him that one of the solutions is that we have to look at intra-Africa trading. That we have this mentality, as I've just told you, we are used to exporting raw materials, because that was the colonial setup. Africa was meant to be a producer of raw materials, not to manufacture anything, to buy everything manufactured when it comes back. So I believe, as he's saying, when you have 1.4 billion people on a continent, if you have the right infrastructure, road-wise, railway-wise, whatever, because goods have to be moved. Either they are being moved by a pipeline, by a train system, by road, by trucking. Goods have to move from point A to point B. If we focus on Africa as the market, that's going to really develop us, because like now, look at the US. It's the biggest economy. It doesn't have the most people. It has 300 million people, but they are serious consumers, but they're also serious innovators. I think my brother Tezi also mentioned that the problem with a lot of African billionaires and millionaires, too many of them are middlemen. It's not that they have innovated something. You cannot see from they made this technological product or this product, and they sold it in such huge numbers that they were able to become billionaires. No, usually you'll find that they have brokered deals. They've even brokered bad deals. They've gotten kickbacks from some of these large infrastructure projects with foreign countries. So it's not that they are wealthy from innovation. They are wealthy by craftiness or just by pure luck. Not all of them are bad, of course. Let me not get to that point. but in agreement that if Africa looks at itself as its own market, so that when we find oil, you're not thinking, how do I send it out to China? How do I send it out to Europe? You're looking at how do I send it into the rest of Africa, into the countries that don't have oil, into the landlocked countries that have to pay so much money to get their oil from a port city that is not anywhere near them. That would change the dynamic. For now, for example, you see Total is a French company. BP is British Petroleum. Okay, you'll find that Nigeria, by the time it's exporting to Europe, it's sending it as raw oil. Okay, we are not processing it and then sending them diesel, petrol, products from that raw oil that we already have. That's what we need to change the game on, where we say we have the brains to know. We have a lot of brains in Africa. Yeah, we know we can easily learn how to process our own raw oil and come up with plastics, come up with petroleum, come up with diesel, come up with whatever we need to suit our energy needs as Africa. But as long as we are thinking, get oil, send it to Europe. Do you know what they do? They sell it to us. The oil from Nigeria will be sold to Kenya via the UK as a middleman. Okay, so there's that element where we have to shift. That's why I'm saying leadership kicks into play. That we have to be visionaries. We say, yeah, true. If we trade within ourselves, we can be a real economic powerhouse, even before we become militarily a powerhouse. Because as somebody had suggested in Congo, you can't fight a superpower. They have nuclear bombs if they have to get to that level. But also, even besides that, they are so technologically advanced as far as weapons go. You are buying all your weapons from them. So they'll not sell you the latest infrared glasses. They'll not sell you the drones that can bomb you without any of their soldiers being put in danger. These guys can bomb you while they're still in the ocean. And they have all the coordinates thanks to Google and the way we've been mapping our world, you know. So there are people they have tracked down using phones. There's an Escobar, a drug dealer who was killed by the states using his phone. Remember, your phone has a way that it gets tracked even by the police if you commit a crime. So the idea is this: we know we can't take them, we can't fight militarily. We are not going to be on the same path. But first of all, we can have a war of conscience, because what happens is with these nations, they like keeping their moral authority. They like showing like everything that they are doing is above the books. So if, for example, in Congo, if they're taking advantage of our minerals, we would need our media houses to expose that. People like Al Jazeera, who are not always Western friendly. They're not enemies, but I mean, they keep the news civil and unbiased. For example, you can't expect CNN to be unbiased, and it's an American company, or the BBC. If these media houses are for their nations and their regions, they will not report stories that paint their region in a bad light. But for example, we know very well in DRC, a lot of minerals are taken out by people who mine them without full rights, but because they have the military power, and that DRC is so huge, and there's always so many rebel fighting here and there. It is very intentional that these people are always fighting, because that's the only way to take advantage of the materials there and just fly them directly out of there to, I don't want to mention names, it's not wise. But the idea is, if Africa wakes up and says we can trade within ourselves, can we, for example, these roads we are being built for, as they are being built, can we learn how to be doing our roads to that grade, that it's American grade, European grade? Can Africans do that? Can we have Africans from Nigeria know how to do that, from Tanzania, from Kenya, so that we are building and merging somewhere in the middle? I don't know if you remember when they did what was called the Channel Tunnel, the tunnel under the sea between, I think, Britain and France. They dug from both sides and they met somewhere in the middle. Do you know what level of engineering that takes? You know, what level of skill? We can do that. It's not beyond us. So part of the decolonization we need is decolonization of our minds. We still feel too dependent. We still feel, first I should sell to the West before I consider selling to the African. I don't know. Do we think we are too poor? I can't sell my things to Nigeria. Nigeria can't sell to Kenya. We can't sell to Tanzania. We have to shift that mindset. Market is market. Market is about numbers. What he has said, the reason it's called the wealth at the bottom of the pyramid. There was a book written to that effect, which it says, don't underestimate the small people in the slums. As he said, if there are 500,000 of them, even if they give you $1, that's $500,000. And you'll find that they use more than $1 a day just getting their food. So what if you're selling the goods to them? Okay. But the idea is, I've agreed in the sense that we must look at intra-Africa trade seriously, but that means we must fix our infrastructure. You see, right now you're building a pipeline. You want it to go from Uganda to the port to send the oil out. Where is the road, the line going into Central African Republic or whichever country is inside Africa that doesn't have access to oil? To Zambia. Where's the plan for Zambia? Where's the plan for Mali? Where's the plan for? We just need to change how we're looking at things. It shouldn't be that anything we discover, anything we find, the first person we're going to give access to is the West and to China. Because that way, and especially we're giving it to them always raw form. To the point where even in the very drilling, Kenya found oil. They called Tullow, a company from Canada. We found titanium, again, company from Canada. What's our problem? Why don't we find a mineral and say, before we rush to extract it, can we see how many years do we need to become experts at extracting this thing and producing goods from it? 10 years, 20, let's invest that time. We didn't have that facility before. Let's be patient. Let's get our wealth when we are in control of it. But the moment you call in a company from abroad, you've just said, these guys are coming to get oil from Uganda, and they're giving Uganda 15%. What kind of leaders do we have? What deal is that? I come to your place, tap your source, and I'm going to give you 15%. And I'm telling you, maybe I'll give you 15% for 20. That 20 years is what it might have taken you to learn how to exploit the resource for yourself and how to make products from it. So we need to stop being so impatient that as soon as we find something, somebody has to take this advantage of this. Let me give it to a foreigner. We have to slow down. We say, what do we have? What do we need to know to maximize what we have? South Africa has, because South Africa discovered oil a long time ago, they have, I think it's called Sasol, the South African oil company, South African oil producing and money. Why don't we talk to them? Why don't we say, first, let's access Sasol. We say, can we have an agreement with an African company that might be more lenient with Africans on how to develop these natural resources that we are discovering? Because we won't get ahead in the current trajectory we have. With the current mindset we have, the current type of leadership we have, we're not going to go ahead as Africa. We need to change our vision and say Africa is a big market all by itself. China, 1.4 billion. We also 1.4 billion in Africa. But what the difference with China and Africa, they have how many roads do you think China has? How good are the railway systems? Anything you find in China, you can transport across China without too much difficulty. But look at DRC, very wealthy, don't even have good roads. They struggle to move things within DRC. So that's the thing. We need to wake up and say, we can do this. We can say, okay, well, we were behind, as you've said. I hear in the 60s, Singapore was at par with Kenya. There are old people who say they remember African countries lending money to Singapore and Asian countries. But they left us behind. They left us in the dust because our leadership is, unfortunately, has been engaged in the wrong kind of politics. Tribalism, whether it's about faith. Africa has been wasting time fighting Africa, and of which maybe we are helped by the West. Who knows? But ideally, we have to take some responsibility. You don't change until you accept responsibility for your current condition. As long as we are in a state where we say it's their fault, then they have to change before we change. But the moment we say things are a mess right now, but let's take responsibility, then we can change. Then we can start moving forward. So I'm in full agreement with our brother. Let's start saying, how are we going to trade with each other? how are we going to, then how are we going to process our own stuff? Let's not be in a rush to export it. Let's say we will import. Since we've been importing from Saudi Arabia, how can we be importing oil? We have oil here. Is it logical? We don't know how to do refineries. We'll never learn how to do refineries. We have the gold, but the gold market is in Dubai, or it's in the London Metal Exchange, LME, or it's controlled outside. We grow flowers in Kenya and in Ethiopia, but the control point is in Denmark, is in Holland. Okay, so that's our problem as Africa. We have something, but the leadership is not ours. We are not leading it. Oil, OPEC countries are led by Saudi Arabia. Okay, Nigeria is part of OPEC. It's an oil producing entity. So we have the biggest change you have in a society and in a space is when first the mindset changes, the paradigm changes, where you go from I'm a slave, I'm weak, I'm helpless, I'm hopeless, to no, anything a human being can do, I can learn how to do and I can still do. So I think that's where we need. Yes.
Let me stop you right there. And thank you so much for your contribution. I wanna bring Ezra to answer this question a little quick, and then I'll take you guys to the different direction. The same thing that Ezra and Wallace shared. There's something I'll bring on to just take you a little bit in a different direction. Just hold that thought of oil and everything. His Excellence, do you mind to answer this? You're the brightest one.
What should Africa do in the future on, and how do the Westerners have the hands of the moon as well as the youth and nature of Africa? I think, I'm not sure if I'm understanding this question properly, but how do the Westerners have the hands of the moon as well as the youth and nature? I guess now this is influence, soft power. I think we are at America, when looking at the US, in terms of the soft power they use, influence, they have the news platforms, they've got the entertainment, and they've exported their culture, they've exported their music, they've exported everything they create, because they know that there's a big market out there in the world. It's not just something to be consumed only in America. And also the only way to channel influence people is through media. You can have all the money. There are many countries that are very rich in the world, but they do not have the soft power that America has, or it's utilizing to influence policy, to influence politics, to influence entertainment. So I think as Africa now, with all the platforms that are out there, we are part of this soft power that we need to be utilizing as Swahili Nation, One Africa. We're not just here to add numbers on YouTube. We are also here to influence and be the voice as well. So we need to raise such concerns, and we need to have such platforms really discussing our issues and also coming up with solutions. So I think one of those things is for us as media platforms in the continent to touch everything, the youth, things that are affecting youth, for us to have a hands or an influence on the youth. We need to look at the things that are of interest for the youth, unemployment, music, all those things, the things that we know youth really watch. If you look at the US is using all those platforms. They're using all these platforms to influence the youth in terms of music, culture, dress code, fashion. Now, not dress code, but fashion. So as Africa, we need to expose the things that we are already producing, the fashion, the dances. We need to flood these markets. We need to be in all these media platforms, whether it's TikTok, we need to be there. Whether it's YouTube, we need to be there. We need to be putting more of our content so that we can also change the narrative and also have a change in how Africa is seen in the world. So that's another part that we can do in terms of the youth. And also when you look at the moon, I'm not sure whether they talk about what, satellite, space programs or what. I think that we can build on. I think a lot of countries have also launched some mini satellites for their countries. I think we still, our space programs in Africa, that's if I'm understanding the question, It's still in its infancy, but I think there's a lot of potential for us to grow. And the best way, as Mr. Wallace said, collaboration can be the best thing for us. If we can say the 54 countries, let's build our own international space. Let's build let's have an African space program. That's the only way we can minimize costs, because it's expensive. Currently, we cannot compete with America or Russia, because they're the countries that even went to competition to go to the moon or even go to space. So for us as a continent, we can save costs and say, let's have a space program. Let's take all this. We've got a lot of guys who've done physics, who are maybe sitting, doing even not using their physics skills, astronomy, all those things. We need those guys. We can collaborate. And as a continent, I'm sure we can have all the proper skill base to do a space program. And obviously we'll be able to also build our own satellite systems, like the GPS systems, all these things we can build ourselves as Africa, if we combine our resources, combine our minds to do this thing. It's doable until we can really say, let's do it together. And as we are trying to do things together, I know people tend to say, hey, I can't work in a group, I can't work in a team because I'm this person, I work better alone and things like that. But there's times when we need to put our own abilities alone. That's why we are moving slow, because we're moving alone. But if we are moving as a unit, we can even do more. So, and there's somebody who was, because I was listening to this other marriage counselor. There's this couple who were talking about the power of multiplication. And he used the Bible to say, the Bible says 1 can chase 1,000, but 2 can chase 10,000. So he was talking about the power of multiplication. Imagine the power of multiplication as a continent. 54, plus even the diaspora, the guys who are in the Caribbean. We've got a lot of people that we can use. The brains are there. People are working for NASA. They're working for many SpaceX. They're working for all these global companies who have of African descent. We can combine something. It's not that it's not doable. And as Nelson Mandela says, his word says, it seems impossible until it's done, until we take those first steps. We need to take those steps. And I believe if all our space programs, I'm sure they are there, but no one is kind of maybe pushing it. And I think as youth and as Africans from all walks of life, whether experienced or not experienced, if we can combine our brain, we know that there's guys that love space stuff. There might not be many in Africa because maybe exposure, but if we can have, like Swahili Nation is one of those platforms, she said this, we must have a program about space. Let's talk about space, physics, all those things that we need to do. What was the other one? What should we do in the future? Those are the things that we need to do. Like, we need to combine our resources. It becomes cheaper because we can all contribute. If somebody can say, I can only afford $50,000, somebody can say, I'm a big economy, I can afford 1 million. Let's take it, and let's not underestimate anyone's contribution. As long as somebody can say, this is how much I can bring to the table. It's better than nothing. It's better than saying, oh, the Americans are running the space program. They are running this. They're doing this. They're influencing our youth to do this and this. But we also have the power right now. The media platforms are there for us to use, guys. And I believe that as Africa, as us Africans, this is our time to start moving into those lines. And we need to also flood the market, because the other nations move first. That's why they dominate. So we are moving later. We might look like we are behind. It's because we started late. We didn't start with them when they started. But right now is our time that we can also start flooding the market, So that's just something. That's how I'll answer this question, His Excellency. Yeah. I don't know about Tezi.
That's I appreciate. I think that's it's so clear. I want to take you guys to different direction, right? I want to take you guys to different direction, and we are going to answer this. All right, let me bring up this one. I'm just looking at something here right before I bring it to you. Let me see here. This is very interesting. Okay, we have spoken about, the oil and everything, and we know it's the big issue right now. We are facing in the world, and because of whatever these reasons that they say. But I want to bring something to you guys, because we're talking about the power of unity. All right, and I just have something very interesting here I want to show you guys. Let me do this. Let me put myself there. Let me change this, and let me bring this. All right. So right here, this article that I'm showing you guys, And I will start with Mwendatezi for this because he has been quiet for a while. So this is top 10 African countries sitting on the most natural gas, because you're talking about oil, but I see the other option here, just here in Tanzania. Let me just show you guys this first. Top 10 African countries sitting on the most natural gas, and this is the gas that is not even been used yet. Nigeria, the first one, 206.53 trillion cubic feet. And then you have Algeria, and then you have Senegal. Look at that. Those are T. Mozambique, and then you have Egypt, and then you have Tanzania, 57. Then you have Libya, you have Angola, you have Congo, you have Equatorial Guinea, you have Cameroon, you have Sudan. These are actually 12 plus Cameroon and Sudan. This is the power of Africa. This is just few countries, like top 10, but you have more countries that they have different gays. So when we're talking about unity, we're talking about something like this, something that can be used by the entire continent, with different countries coming together to secure these countries, to secure our continent. Because I'm telling you, we have oil, we have gas. These days you have cars. I mean, the cars that use either oil or they use gas. If the oil is too expensive, you can definitely use gas, because we have excessive amount of gas in Africa. If we come together, if we join our hands, and if we take advantage of that to produce by ourselves, I'm telling you, there will be, like, I think for gas and for oil, like people will be purchasing with $1, like even less than that, just to use it. But right now the price went high, as if we don't have anything on the ground, while we still a lot of resources just buried deep inside the ground. And we look like our kids that we are orphans, but still we have our father. Like our dad is there, our parents are there, but we look like that orphans. Man, this is something that I don't even know how to ask this question. I don't even know what to say, because I was actually asking the other time, like I just look here in my country, I'll see the station that have gas. Like if you have a car and you want to put gas, there's only one station. Like basically the station I know is only one somewhere here. While there's a pipeline just crossing around this ground everywhere, from I think from Tanga all the way to here, but you have only one station here. You could have like thousands of stations that built by, let's say, the government itself, or people that will save people. Not only that, but will produce a lot of income to the people. But most of the time for the project like this, you have international company coming, take advantage of that and take all the money, and you're left with nothing. This is just a simple example. That we were talking about oil, and we have oil in Africa. I didn't put those, lines here, but we are talking about gas right now that is everywhere. Like you can name anything, and we have everything. That Africa should not be suffering because of the oil prices that went up, because we have our own oil here, we have our own gases. Why don't we come together and take advantage of this? Why don't we come together and be interested that we can manufacture these gases and this oil? And that's why you have the pipeline that is coming there, even though, they are participating in all this process. Like we always put them in the middle, and they always like call the shots and do everything they want to do for ourselves. Why don't we take the road of coming together and take advantage of everything that we have to use for our people and transform this continent? We don't need anybody. We don't need anything from anyone. I know collaboration is important. I know that I'm not disregarded, but I'm just saying this to make this point that we have everything practically that we could use to transform this continent. Mwendatezi, you're next, my brother. Oh.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Mika. You've made a great point also. But the question I also wanted to ask is what are we using this gas and oil for? I feel like this is where Africa we really need to concentrate on. Is what are we using it for? Because from what I think I see is that we're going to be using that oil for consumption, right? For vehicles. While I see other places, that oil is used to create capital. They use it for manufacturing. They're using it for gas and oil. They're using it for manufacturing of all sorts of commodities. Here in Africa, basically, we're using it for consumption, basically. And in the end of the day, the need for it, even It's just, if you just compare our use of energy, our energy users in Africa, we have yet to even in our own countries, we have yet to even have a high consumption. That's why they talked about 3% of the global warming or global emissions. It's because we don't have any industries. We're not manufacturing. We're not using the energy for anything in the name of creation of capital goods. So that's why the Ezra will say we'll always be looking at these things. Oh, look at these things. We are rich, but we're not really rich. And I actually wanted to talk about something to do with that. There's this economist guy called Walt Rostow. I don't know if maybe you might know him. Rostow. He came up with a theory of development, actually, back in, I think it was in the 1970s or something. Came up with a theory, and he says there were 5 stages of development. First is the traditional society, basically the agricultural part. That to him, that was the first stage of development. And I see that we are still lagging. That's why I feel like I can talk about oil and all that, but even in agriculture, even this year, the produce was low. In East Africa, even I don't know if you heard, even Tanzania was trying to stop exports to Kenya because of maize exports or something like that. Because this year the produce, the farmers did not have a high yield. We are still archaic. We are still waiting for rain. In Africa, while the rest of the world, as you talked about, is already deep into irrigation technologies. We are still waiting for. Our agriculture is still that behind rain-fed agriculture. So and because of that, you find that we are dealing with a shortage of food, and according to Rostow, and actually I also believe it's true that people before even people start thinking about development, people are still hungry, Before we talked about those people in the slums, but they can barely afford a meal, right? So I feel like we need a surplus of agriculture. That's the first stage. We need to focus on agriculture. Then when we have a surplus of agriculture, where people are no longer thinking about food, where food is easily accessible, I think then there will be more specialization and people will start thinking about other things. I think that's how capitalism began in the United Kingdom. The origins of capitalism was because people had an excess of agriculture and they began to think about now creating other things, and that's how you found those revolutions happening, the agrarian revolution, the industrial revolution, all this because people were no longer having to think about food. You can now specialize in other things. Even I know these are just European examples, but even the Roman Empire, the only reason why they became very huge is because while other people, soldiers were also farmers. They were also, there were no true soldiers. They were just farmers or other craftsmen who occasionally were mobilized for a battle. The Romans were specialized. They say, you know what, we will not be thinking about food. They had good agriculture, and because of that, they could specialize on being soldiers, just being soldiers, and they could now conquer Europe or something like that. So in the end of the day, we need to start having surplus of food before we even think about what's under the ground. Well, we are not even exploiting our agricultural lands as we should. That's what I think personally. I feel like when people are not yet even eating well, Africans are malnourished. I don't know who was talking about IQ a few minutes ago, but when people can't, it's really affecting. That's the thing. It's really affecting us in our productivity, in our specialization, and in our to the point that when we reach the level of now exploiting this energy to create industries or to export, we really need to just go from step one. That's basically my point. That our step one is just agriculture. When we can feed everybody, then maybe we can now start talking about how oil, is a big deal, because I'm sure many Africans, even you can tell them, oh, we are wealthy, and that guy has not even, he has not had his meal of the day. You're telling him about the resource. I don't know. I feel like he may not be resonating with you, or that type of message may not resonate. But when you tell the Africans, that's why even I don't know if my brother Wallace can attest that in Kenya, the issue of agriculture usually resonates with a lot of Africans. Even in Kenya, it's a very huge thing, politics. Like, oh, when we reduce produce and agriculture, because those are the things that I think we cannot skip this stage. That's basically, like, let me not continue to talk, but basically I feel like before even we reach this stage of exploiting our energy resources, like the way South Africa have done, because South Africa, I think, is one of the few countries in Africa that are actually food secure. Even you can see the problem with the white man when he came to South Africa. The first thing he did is he became a farmer. These are just, so I think even them, they have that formula, like, okay, first we secure the food, then from securing the food, we can now go to these other industries. So I think this is if there was to be a plan in Africa, I think according to the question, what's going to happen next, or what we'll do next, I think the plan is secure the food, then I don't know, the rest will go to the next stage of when we have surplus of food, people will now think about specialization when people are food secure. Basically, my point.
Great point, I think just somewhere to add to it. I think agriculture, we can get it right. If Africa needs to get things right. I think I once shared another article where food is there, but then there isn't really the capacity to either preserve the food for other seasons, because that food is also seasonal. So now for you to preserve food for a longer time, we need those food processing companies. As much as people can say, no, those are preserved, but all the world is living on that, and we no longer we used to preserve food as Africans as well, because we knew seasons change, and we knew that this is a rainy season, a dry season, winter season, or whatever. But some of those technologies that we used were no longer applicable now, where we are now living, we need to feed masses. It's no longer about a village or just a family when you're doing food production. So I think that's one of them. But another thing in terms of when you said oil and gas, I know that one of my favorite businessmen, which is Aliko Dangote, which I know is not really, you've questioned him, Mwendatezi, is building a fertilizer. I think a fertilizer facility, I think it's already done. They're busy with the oil refinery. And also, oil is not just for consumption in terms of, or gas, it's not just for home consumption or for vehicles, but a lot of industries use different gases for different things. So I think there's more to be exploited, and I believe that the same resources like oil and them, once we have more countries like Nigeria, for example, now coming with one of the biggest refinery in the continent, it is going to benefit the Nigerians, and other industries will start building. Remember, once you have one industry, there's also supporting industries for that same business or model, for example. So I believe that what Nigeria is doing there is a game changer, and I'm sure a lot of countries might start even doing more things, and I'm sure there will be more other industries that will be coming to Nigeria. I mean, in terms of mechanically, structurally, I mean, engineering companies that are coming to sit in Nigeria to support those refineries and for maintenance work. So there's also employment that's going to come there. And then oil will also be, I mean, they'll be using for different materials. They'll be doing a lot of things. I mean, even coal. I mean, I think Wallace said something about Sasol. Sasol, they don't just do petrol. They don't do diesel and petrol. They're also doing different products, plastic products. People don't realize that, I mean, those are also byproducts of oil and gas and stuff. The plastics that we use, certain things, the bottles and all this stuff. There's a lot that you can do. The downstream industries that come with having one major industry like a refinery or any kind of industry, big industry in your country. So I believe that if we start doing more of those things like what Nigeria is doing, it's going to help a lot of countries and a lot of industries that will come in the continent. Others will even be created in the same continent. So I believe that it's doable, and we should not say, what are we going to do with this gas? I mean, we have a lot of people in Africa that are still using wood, which is not a reliable source of cooking or of lighting or of warming the house. So we need to utilize all those resources. I mean, if we've got gas, if Nigeria is the biggest gas reserve in the continent, or Algeria have the biggest gas reserves, we need to exploit that. Those gases should not be going to warm houses in Europe, while Africans cannot even, they don't even have any place where, I mean, they don't use the same, they have the same mineral, but they cannot even use it for cooking in their home countries or even your neighboring country. Because it's so funny that you find that the same gas is going to Europe, but your neighboring country doesn't even have electricity. Gas is also used to power the country. You can use it for power, for electricity. And a lot of countries, as we know, we don't have a reliable electricity in the continent. So there's a lot of uses for gas and oil. So I believe that we can build capacity and we can make sure that people in the continent have electricity every place, whether you're in a rural place, whether you're in a small town. It shouldn't be something that is just for the selective few who live in the cities and small towns. We need to make sure that everybody can exploit and enjoy the benefits of having those resources in their continent or in their countries. So I believe there's a lot besides industries. There's just the basics. I mean, and imagine if you give one household electricity in Africa. I mean, if you're giving people electricity, there's a lot of businesses that can be developed via that. I mean, you can imagine a computer works on power. A person can open a business. A person can do so many things when they have electricity in their country or access to electricity. So we need to make sure that our continent is fully electrified. And as you say, agriculture is very important. And we've got leading countries in terms of agriculture. Egypt is one of those countries. Imagine they have a desert for the most part, but they are also one of the most reliable. They are self-sufficient for the most part in terms of food. They might be importing wheat because wheat is a staple there, but there's a lot of things that they are really they are self-sufficient on. Kenya is one of them in terms of food production and flowers, tea, so many things. And it's all about learning from each other. We can start helping one another according to our strengths. I mean, we know there's other countries that lead in different things. Come and assist us. Kenya, you're good in flour, you're good in making tea, you're good in coffee. Ethiopia, you're good at this. We can utilize our strengths without fearing that, hey man, if I teach Congo how to really produce coffee and tea, they have got the good rainfall, they've got the soil for it, they'll take over my market. If people can also remove those fears, because I think one of the things that is hindering us from trading is also the fears of, if I teach you this, you might take my business or you might take my market share. So those are the things that we have to be really realistic when we are talking about also the intra-trade and stuff, because we know that everyone will try to protect their position or their industries in their countries. But we need to get to a point where we can say we need everyone to be lifted up out of poverty, because our common enemy is not our neighbors, is not the people that are not like us in terms of our language or our skin tone, color or whatever. It's the poverty in each and every country. That's our poverty. That's our challenge, and that's our enemy. That should be our first priorities. Those are our first enemies. Poverty is our enemy. We should not really entertain it or even put it anywhere else, but we need to fight poverty out of our continent. And poverty is not just food only, also the mental poverty. We need to empower people in terms of knowledge, expose people to information. That's also another thing that, as you said, somebody, you can tell them about the other country being rich, but it don't make sense to them because they don't even know. Some people don't even know that there's maybe oil in Uganda. They'll say, I've heard people talk about it, but they're not even sure what's happening. If you ask one Ugandan, you might find that they don't even know what's the progress on that project, because it's just something it's as if it's only the government and the private companies are talking about it, but the whole country is not talking about it. And as Someone said, once said, we're having a discussion. They said, you know, if you want to hide something, you don't have to talk about it. That's the only way you can hide it. Only the ones that know, they know and keep it to themselves and benefit from the knowledge they have. And of which is our enemy in Africa. Knowledge and information is also one of the things that I believe that we need to spread the knowledge. We need to share more knowledge about things that are happening. Like Swahili Nation, what it's doing, His Excellency, this is knowledge sharing. Somebody might not know about this project, but today, once you started talking about it, somebody who's in Somalia might know about it now. They know about it now. Somebody who might be in the US now, they know about it. Oh, there's even oil in Uganda. They didn't know about that. Somebody didn't know that there's a titanium in Kenya. You know, such things. We need to have more platforms like this as Swahili Nation is doing to empower one another in terms of information sharing as well. So that's just my take for now. Mr. Wallace?
Oh, thank you, Brother Ezra. I'm in agreement with both of you. Yes, that some of the challenges we need. Sometimes the problem is the way we look at the problem. Sometimes food security challenges are on bad management, bad storage, bad agricultural practices. So let's say if we were to begin from production side, you would find. When did Egypt start using what we call irrigation? Thousands of years ago, you know, and now that's why even maybe they are so efficient at doing their agriculture. Look at the efficiency of Israel in agriculture. Look at the efficiency of Holland. When did Holland start capturing land back, reclaiming land from the sea? Now, one of our challenges in Africa is very funny. 1 minute we are complaining about drought, and the next minute we are suffering from floods, which means we don't have good water harvesting systems in place. Water just comes, runs off, destroys stuff. We don't control it. And so I agree also what brother said, Mr. Tezi, that because we don't know how to capture water well, we're always waiting. Like in Kenya, we are told the rains weren't good, so don't expect good food and expect higher prices on food. Now, the integrity issue comes in there because there are times, it's true, maybe the rains are not there, but the reserves are hidden. There are people who are out to maximize on their position as owners of grains they have imported. So they don't mind hiking the price up. For example, in Kenya, let's say energy, for example. Kenya has geothermal sites with the capacity to give us all the electricity we wanted for as long as, you remember, geothermal is a natural resource. It's you don't need to renew it. The heat that rises from the ground is able to turn turbines and give you electricity indefinitely. But do you think our leadership wants to maximize on that potential? They haven't maximized on it. They'd rather tell you that your water is dependent on your electricity is dependent on dam water, so that when the rains are low, they tell you the rains were not good enough. We can't generate enough electricity. So we'll have to be buying fuel to generate electricity, and they spike up your electricity costs. And what do electricity costs affect? Manufacturing. And all these things you've just mentioned, my brother, in the sense that you can't have high energy costs and be able to be an effective and efficient economy. So ideally, we need to say, okay, what is our challenge? And if one of them is food, definitely a hungry man can't focus, you know. But the food is there. It's a question of who's in control. In Kenya, we have cartels that are run by the big shots. People who are in politics. Actually, in Kenya, a lot of people get into politics so that they're in positions of power, that they can protect their interests. They can protect the businesses that they do. You can't touch them because they're a senator, they're an MP, they're whatever position they have. But you find that there are people who have intentionally destroyed local farming industries so that they can import things. People have destroyed our sugarcane industry to import sugar from Brazil because it's more profit for them. And that's what I was saying. There's that element of integrity that we need to step up to as Africans, where we say, don't get to the point where you're willing to hurt your own country for your own individual pockets. Because How much money can you, if you're given $1 billion, and a lot of our leaders have more than that in their banks, you can't even spend the interest on that for the rest of your life. You can't, but yet people have looted money in the billions, but they are not content. They're not satisfied. So they now go into these industries like where they find they can make money from importing rice. They will look for ways to open avenues for them to import rice while creating fake shortages on the ground. In Kenya, we've even had situations where there are fake fuel shortages so that somebody can hike the price at their petrol stations. And usually in Africa, in Kenya, at least let me speak for Kenya, once prices go up, it's very hard for them to fall back down when the emergency is over. So let's say if fuel goes up by $1 or 10 cents in the dollar, so let me use dollars so that you understand. When the emergency is gone, it won't come back down by 10 cents, 10 cents US, it may come back by 5 cents. So it's a way of continually upgrading the cost of living for Africans. But as we have said, some of these things are solvable. It's a question of getting into, as you've said, exchanging ideas. Egypt, how have you been doing your irrigation? Israel, funnily enough, I think you remember recently, Israel wanted to join the AU. I don't know on what basis they were doing that, but they actually made an application to join the African Union. So the idea is we borrow the best farming practices, the best farming technologies. I think even our brother has spoken of that before, about there being some sort of smart farming or something that they've been looking into, they want to do in Tanzania. That kind of technology, as soon as you have it, start seeding it out. Mika was mentioning it. So you don't lose anything when you share an idea. That's the power of ideas. If I have an idea, Mika has an idea, His Excellency has an idea, Tezi has an idea. When we share ideas, we now have 4 ideas, and we can synergize them maybe into one great one. So everybody will have ended up with more ideas, having not lost what they had originally. And like, let's say if I have $100 and I send it to His Excellency, I don't have $100, he has it. But when it comes to ideas and innovation and creativity and genius, actually there is power in synergy. There's power in bringing things together. You end up with what they say: 1 + 1 = 3. It's a leadership principle. That's why I sound like a broken record. That's why I keep talking about the importance of leaders. Because now, let's say if people are getting into leadership to protect their own personal business interests, that's not truly a leader. That's not somebody who sits in parliament and is really thinking, what challenges do the people have? How can people? No, he's thinking, how can I import sugar to? He's not thinking about the local farmer who grows sugarcane. He's thinking about how he'll import sugar and sell it to the supermarkets in the country. So something needs to shift fundamentally, where we say, okay, I like the idea you've said that there's power in media. Let's say Arabia has Al Jazeera. We know the West has CNN, they have BBC, they have Sky News. Where is our one African strong media house that brings African stories and African situations with reality and with clarity and without bias? Nowadays, even there's something called WION. I'm sure you've seen WION, I think, for India. That's been pretty good, you know? So ideally, while we might not have the money to start such a big network, you've just stated that we can start with YouTube. You can, as we have our Swahili Nation. I think there are times I've seen SNN. I think Swahili Nation News or something. So something, if that one was to be strengthened, where we would reach a point where our members are contributing news articles from different parts of Africa, not only the challenges, but also the good news, also the good innovations. Also, as you said, there are times it's from this kind of platform that you learn, hey, even Africa, even Kenya has titanium. Oh, Nigeria has diamonds. I mean, we'll find out things that will open our minds up to say, okay, how can we exchange ideas? What is it they've been doing that's gone ahead that we can borrow and make use of? So I think I'm in agreement with the topic that the way we are going to move forward is through unity, through intra-trade, through better leadership. I keep pitching that one so that we are not losing water. Floods, we are getting 1 minute we are flooded, next minute we're in drought. it's a bit ridiculous. Number two, water doesn't only come from the sky. We have water underground. We're able to dig wells. Kenya discovered in Turkana a water aquifer. I think it was Japan that discovered that could give the whole of the country water for 70 years. But of course, the water is, unfortunately, it's not ready for, I mean, it's a bit contaminated. But now it's a matter of, can you get the technology to find a way to distill this water, to get this water to be usable by human beings? Because ideally, the water is there. It's underground. So, but how many times we have droughts in that part of Kenya where we even have now humanitarian aid being required? And yet the place is very rich in water. The soils have potential. So ideally, there's that shift we need to get to where we say, okay, we know we have the potential. Now the question is the actions, and the actions needs to start with, okay, let's maybe, food is very important, as our friend has said, but now, right now, we don't have control of how food comes into the country, how it's distributed. But the idea is, I think we can help with our maybe social media presence, with our YouTube presence. Maybe we broaden our reach towards having some sort of station online, maybe our YouTube TV channel. We spread the news or spread the word out there, but we start empowering Africans to understand what good servant leadership is, because that's what we need to put in place, beginning with ourselves, for ourselves in our own families, and then see it in our local communities, in our constituencies, going up to our main government. But if we don't have that paradigm shift, that change of mind, we'll really struggle as Africa. We'll be seeing the right challenges, but starting from the wrong end. And I think I've shared this maxim before here. They say a proper diagnosis is half the cure. So we know we have many challenges, but which is the main thing that is biting at us? So that if we start fixing that, we start seeing a ripple effect, a domino effect in all the other areas. So leadership becomes very essential. As what we are doing now as Swahili Nation is we are taking leadership. Youth is a mindset, not just an age set. We are taking that charge of saying we are going to discuss our challenges and we are going to come up with solutions, and we're going to look for a way to actualize them. So I think that's my thought on the same. Let's get our leadership on point. Let's get our energy on point. Let's get our food on point, because we can't be starving. We can't be depending on. Usually when there's sometimes when we have a food extreme food shortage, especially for maize, there are times we see we've been sent corn from the United States, yellow corn, which they usually sometimes use to feed their animals. But the idea is you find. We don't need to get to that level. It's not good to find a level where Kenya has need for food, but Tanzania is not in the mood to sell food to us at that point. They are our next door neighbors, but that's a bit of politics. But ideally, we need to have that thing where we say, no, let's always be in surplus, so that like the story of the Bible of Joseph, making sure Egypt was in such surplus that other countries could come and buy grain from them to whatever quantity they wanted. Let's be in that kind of surplus as Africa. Then we're able to think clear, because also Africans like to eat. So let's get our food secure. Yeah, and that's, I think, my point on that, my thoughts on my 2 cents in that dimension.
Tezi, I hope you're not working in the beach already. I know you used to work around this time, meditation and stuff.
No. Actually, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Oh no. Okay, no, I'm not in the beach, my brother. Actually, I moved, man. I'm in the capital, But on this issue of food, like for me personally, I think this is the domino that the first domino that everything that makes the all of the other, that knocks down all of them all. Because I feel what my okay, what was it? Yeah, because I feel in Africa, like there is a huge population of people who could be creative, who could be very productive, but who could be more long-sighted. You know, even in our politics, as I said, our people are short-sighted when we elect our leaders. All this, I think, all of this, if there is a surplus of food, a lot of these issues are dealt with, and people began to, you know, sometimes I see the discussions happening in the Western these are circles, it's Western media, or not Western media, but Western, just people, regular people in the West, even in China, or you know, if you find that there is a high level of there's just this level of informed that unfortunately I don't see it in my country. I see a lot of short-sightedness in our country, a lot of sloganeering, but you don't see that level of discussion where people are even discussing philosophy. There's a time we talked about do Africans can have the ability to, are Africans critical thinkers, you know? And I feel like this thing of hunger is really just getting in our way of having long-term thought and critical thinking and all this type of, you know. Yes, I feel like if there's the surplus, you know, even when we talk about poverty, you know, I rather see somebody being called poor, but he has a couple of bags of maize or grain in his house, you know, from his small harvest from his own, you know, than hungry. You know, I think even it is going to be difficult to me personally, you know, if we remove this level of poverty in terms of money, for this Western media to come into Africa and start. If we just deal with the agriculture situation, they're not, and everybody is full. You know, everybody has food. Yes, now we start complaining about other things. You know, that person who was already now, okay, now we have food. We have bags of maize in my store or in my house. Now he's going to notice, by the way, this road needs to be made. You start to notice some other things. He's going to start to focus on other things, or being productive, or start to specialize, on other things, even in his agriculture. So I feel like we need to get this thing first. This thing of food, I think we need to. It's been with us for decades. It's, as I said, it's like if it's such a simple issue, why aren't we not dealing with? Because we are spending billions on projects all over the place. Even look at that pipeline; it's billions of dollars, right? But what we can't deal with this simple issue is, I feel like even the president of Rwanda, President Paul Kagame, I think a few months ago, if not this month or last month, there was a meeting in Rwanda. There was I think it was about agriculture in East Africa. And this guy just accused directly accused Bill Gates of sabotaging agriculture in Africa. And yeah, he's right, because I think, Wallace, you posted this thing about seeds, of patenting of seeds, that this is a law that has been passed in Kenya this year, and I think it has also been passed in Tanzania. And the person who's lobbying it is Bill Gates, and he, through his organization, he's actually taken African agriculture back. In terms of production, we have really been, because his programs have really damaged African production. In fact, Paul Kagame went ahead and directly accused him of damaging African soil. The soil. So, sometimes we must see that we are being attacked in many fronts. You can see this front, this other front, then all like like we must be really a giant, that all this effort just for us not to wake up, just for us not to stand. The way we are being attacked on the legs, on the feet, on the hands, on the, all these fronts. But I feel like if we deal with this agricultural situation, I feel like a lot of problems will be solved, and we will be here, this Swahili nation here, we will be having maybe even 1,000 viewers from all over Africa. You know, their stomachs are full now. They want to know what's happening in Africa. But you know, now our brothers in Africa, they have other issues. You know, their issues are, what am I going to eat tomorrow? You know, that a politician can just give them $5, you know, and it's gone for 5 years. You know, and you know, because he thinks, okay, today at least I'll buy some maize. You know, it becomes a vicious cycle. So to me, the biggest issue, even before we talk about energy and all this cost, because even Africa, there was this statistic about productivity. I think we talked about it a while back, that Africa is actually one of the least productive continents. Like, our productivity is so low. I think the most productive was China. I think Asia was like what one Asia, I think it was what one Asian man can do, it takes like 10 Africans. You know, they did a interesting it was a very interesting statistic, but that's how unproductive we are, basically. Like I think one Asian man can do something like 5 Africans. The job of 5 Africans that do here in Africa is usually done by one Asian man in Asia. So just look how unproductive we are. So and all this, I'll just go and repeat the point, but in the end of the day, we can't we can't avoid this first step. That's what I can say. We cannot develop without this first step of agriculture. You know, even this oil, we know we might even build it and we think that it's going to save us. But if we don't develop agriculture, this will just turn out to be maybe like another Nigeria, because Nigeria, they have oil, but you can see they still have shortages in electricity because I don't know. I feel like we deal with this surplus of food, then we unlock a new potential in Africans in themselves. Basically, that's my point.
I get you, Mondatezi, about the foundation or the primary sector of many countries that have developed to become great. Agriculture is important, and again, I think besides just developing agriculture, it's about remaining consistent and also building capacity on agriculture. Because if you look at Europe, they still subsidize, most of their farmers because they understand the importance of agriculture. And even China, if you look at China in terms of food production, they as many as they are, they make sure that the agricultural output is still strong. And imagine having to feed your own people and still export food, or even if it's processed or not, but having to provide food for your country first and even export your excess food. It's really remarkable when you look at such countries. And I think what you said, it's a valid point that agriculture in Africa, we need to get agriculture working. We need to make sure that we are self-sufficient in terms of food, especially the basic stuff of, there's foods that, everywhere in the world people eat, and there's things that we know that your staples in your country. If maize is your staple, we need to make sure that we have that as we have enough to feed the country, and also for the next harvest and stuff. And what was the other thing again that we mentioned on agriculture? I think Mr. Wallace talked about also the technology, because also now when you talk about commercial agriculture, there's a lot of technology that goes into it. And also you mentioned things like water storage, storages like dams, creating dams, or all the things that can make sure that even if we have a drought, but we still have a capacity where we've stored our water for those dry seasons and stuff. So I think that's another thing that we need to look at in terms of agriculture. Is we are trying to build this infrastructure for agriculture, the infrastructure for agriculture. That's the word I'm looking for. That we need to make sure that is stable. And again, maintenance. I think one of the things that we sometimes don't talk about in our continent is maintenance of whatever infrastructure we already have. I think some countries struggle, others can manage, others are struggling to even manage. They'll have a good project, but you give it 4 or 5 years down the line, you get there, that project that used to look good just looks like, you can see that this is, I mean, it's like they've wasted money on this thing. So I think maintenance and making sure that infrastructure really works, and we're not building like white elephants or things that will just remain there, look good, but no one is using them, or no one is even benefiting from them. And so what is the second industry, Mondatezi? After agriculture, let's say Africa gets agriculture right. And to you as well, Mr. Wallace, let's say Africa gets agriculture right, the infrastructure, the dams, the water storages, the technology to harvest, storage places, facilities to process food, different foods into different things, snacks, all those things. Maize work also. It's one of those agricultural product that you can do a lot of things. It's not just about ugali, but there's more to it. There's a lot that they use feed for animals. They use maize as well. There's a lot. I mean, but anyway,
Yeah.
What's the second industry that you think we should be focusing on? Agriculture is on the spotlight already. We've also talked about energy, which is oil and gas. What other industries or other sectors that we need to be developing for us to develop and make sure that the African people are getting what they expect from their governments?
Okay, according to Rostov, the first stage is obviously agriculture, right? So after agriculture, meaning what happens is when you develop your agriculture, right? The what is it? The productivity of your basically of your agriculture, the productivity of your labor when it comes to agriculture. Maybe now as it grows, right? Maybe you find that okay, the work that was done by maybe, as you know, as people become more innovative and more productive in agriculture, the work that was done where maybe 10 people, 10 farmers can be done by one farmer, right? So what happens is now that labor, that freed labor, because that you can spare that labor and still have a surplus of food, right? So that labor now is going to specialize, now it's going to be even more specialized into other, is it industries or other activities? And because of that, now there'll be development of infrastructure. Then that's the second stage. It's called the transitional stage. The third stage now is takeoff. When that labor, when there's surplus, there's infrastructure, and now there's surplus in agriculture, there's infrastructure, and now there's specialization. What happens now is the industrialization happens. That's when there is growing investment and there is regional growth and political progress, right? That's the third stage. It's called the takeoff stage. Then from there, after industrialization, all these industries, then they become diversification, innovation, less reliance on import. That's the fourth stage is less reliance on imports, investments, diversification, innovation. Then the fifth stage is consumer. Basically now durable goods, service sector becomes dominant, and the economy becomes consumer oriented. But basically the next industry after agriculture is infrastructure. Basically, that's basically the next industry. After infrastructure is industrialization. After industrialization is now, when you're creating your own goods, you become less reliant on imports, and you have more investments because you know what you're creating. Then from there, you become more service sector. I think this is the path the Western economies took. I don't know if China. I don't know if China took a similar path. I might have to confirm that, but yeah, that's the next stage. Basically, those are the stages.
And Mr. Wallace, do you have anything to add, or some things that you think after agriculture that we should be focusing on or building on as Africa?
Okay. Yeah, to agree with my brother, especially as we develop agriculture, you will have to have infrastructure, And in that we mean good road networks, good railway networks, a good way of getting goods from point A to point B, because that's even how business will work. That's how business between us would work. We don't need to be having to ship things. Like now, if I try and ship, if we want to ship things to Nigeria from Kenya, we're in East Africa, you're in West Africa. It has to go down either past South Africa, the Cape, or through the Suez Canal and around. That's a very long way to go, and yet we can have good intra-Africa infrastructure planned out and developed, where we just have a road from a corridor from Mombasa all the way to the westernmost point, and then from North Egypt all the way down to South Africa. And then we know how to branch out from those kind of networks. So the ability to end up moving goods and services is very important, especially for that level of the economy, because now also remember there's a dimension where you have goods and services that are digital. A lot of money is made nowadays by the states by selling services like entertainment industry. That's money in itself. We know there's other services like programming, web design, so many things that can be done online. So we need, besides now, infrastructure of roads, infrastructure of our technology, ICT, of fiber optic, of communication, things that speed up communication. As we've said, when we get to it, hopefully sooner than later, we'll be doing our own space stuff and having our own satellites. Might be way down in the future, but for now, maybe we hire or we buy or whatever we are doing at the moment. But ideally, that connectivity is very important, whether it's communication or it is by physical means and roads, because at the end of the day, even if you work online to make money, you're earning money so that you can buy a car, buy a house, buy goods, buy food that you eat, and it has to find its way to your house. So you must have infrastructure for that. So all these things balance out. So I think infrastructure becomes a critical area. And then in that sense also, remember all these things are running on the goodwill of government, in the sense that, do we have good governments? Sorry for belaboring the point. For example, like now, our brother pointed out, Bill Gates, the Bill Gates Foundation has been pushing for this seed to control seed production. Nowadays, the farmers buy seeds that only yield one good crop, and then you'll find that the seed that crop yields cannot be used to. You can't plant it. You can only consume it. And that is because they came in with GMOs. There are all these huge companies out there that have been into GMO, and Africa has given up its traditional seeds and stuff slowly and surely, and gone into GMO. And you find that your crops are not as robust as they used to be. I think maybe some of this GMO, if it was done by Africans for Africa, then you would hope that the motive would be 100%, or you'd be more confident that the motive should be much better. Otherwise, you've seen that it's not always the case that African technologies and ideas are embraced by the West. Remember, during the height of COVID, as far as the World Health Organization was concerned, Madagascar had the audacity to say they had a simple solution for the COVID problem, and they were willing to send it out to the rest of Africa for free. But the WHO didn't let it happen. They didn't want to hear anything like that. Even if there was any scientific study done or any proof done, they didn't care. It's coming from Africa, it cannot be a solution. So I think we just need to have that kind of leadership that is truly out to protect Africa. Because again, we can have all these good plans, but if somebody is always letting in the enemy or always selling you out, you'll also struggle a bit to get ahead. And the way they do that, as we've said, is if they do not choose to be leaders of integrity, because integrity is a choice. Nobody forces you to be a person of your word, other than you being, maybe you subscribe to a specific faith and you say, I follow the tenets of this faith or principles. Usually I find people with some sort of faith are able to stand on principles that they believe come from their holy book. So it says, for example, don't like haram in Islam. You don't like to make money from dubious means. You don't even want money from, I think, interest. They don't interest in their bank accounts. Okay, but ideally, if we have all these good plans, we need to have a leadership that is honestly thinking of Africa first, so that we say we want to grow the seeds that were. Let's modify our own seeds to be the best, the most robust they can be. Let us create the best roads we can make. Let's have, in the olden days when we got independence, I hear that there used to be government officers who would go around to shops to make sure that once the government announced that there is a particular food, that the price is being controlled, shopkeepers are not taking advantage of members of the public. They would also go around and look at the quality of buildings. There would be engineers going around and seeing, after you've constructed a building, was it made to quality? And of which now, the more corruptible the society becomes, you just bribe your way, you go, you start building a building, nobody has approved it from your city council. Next thing we know, 4 years down the line, as you've said, the building collapses and kills people, you know? So it's the same thing with those kind of roads you're saying. Somebody is told, build this road for $100 million. Somebody in government wants $20 million kickback. So now this guy has to squeeze everything he wants to do within $80 million. And he's going to most likely compromise on the quality and the materials, the quality of materials and the quality of the workmanship, so that he can make a profit from whatever you're letting him keep. So we must have systems, because now we are talking about hard progress in the sense that roads are progress, internet is progress, food is progress. They are tangible things. Those are tangibles. But there's this element of these tangibles are enabled by goodwill, and goodwill is not something it's a different dimension. The goodwill of leadership, the goodwill of the people, the integrity of the people, that we do not compromise on how are these things being done, to what quality are they being done. Because you can have things in your country that are not even working as per expectation. Like in Kenya, we were supposed to get a very high-tech electric rail system, but at the end of the day, we paid a lot of money to China, and their old train carriages are the ones they brought to Kenya, repainted them, and told us this is your rail system. For that to happen, my friends, there must be integrity that is not stuck to. Somebody must be corruptible. A leader somewhere has gotten a kickback. He is not interested in these people delivering what we are paying China for. So, and at the end of the day, these countries that are even trying to help us supposedly, they end up disrespecting us. They're like, these Africans, when you want to do something for them, you don't have to do your best. Just know who you need to give which kickback, and then do whatever you want, you will have your profit. But yeah, so in agreement after food, infrastructure, but all these things I'm seeing, yes, they work. The underlying factor here is always leaders who, like the way Magufuli, I don't know if you got, when Magufuli first kicked in, he was a no-nonsense president. He was not willing to compromise on anything that would lower the quality and standard of living of Tanzanians. And so he stuck to his guns throughout a lot of things, okay, including through the COVID period. But the idea is, if we have leaders who can have so much integrity, they are not willing to compromise on their fellow Africans' fate, their fellow Africans' present and future, then we are going somewhere. But as long as we put somebody who can be compromised, Bill Gates will want to adjust our seeds. He just goes to a parliament. These guys earn $10,000 a month, about 10,000 or 15,000. He tells them, I'll give you $100,000 each. For Bill Gates, that's not money, or his foundation. Pass this bill, and all the seeds must come from our company. They pass it. But they are not looking down, as we've said. They are not looking into the future. They're just looking at their pockets now. And that's we want to take 50 steps forward, but there are these people who are dragging us back because the only thing they are thinking about is me, myself, and I, and there's a whole continent to consider and to take care of and to progress. So we need Africans who are Pan-Africanists, leaders, Pan-Africanists, as we say. You're thinking of the whole continent, you're thinking of the whole race, you're thinking of a greater future where we are not economically enslaved as we are right now, where whatever we are trying to do, the European Parliament or some parliament out there can say you're not going to do it. And because you're not technologically advanced doing your own stuff, that's be the end of that. So I think food, transport, whatever infrastructure, and definitely good, true servant leadership. Then also good. Even the citizens also need to be engaged. It's not just leaders. That we can all do our own small bit. Innovation comes from the people. So again, investment in research and development. I think leadership helps inspire people to believe in themselves. We loved Obama because he used to say, yes, we can. That kind of belief. There's that spirit of progress that needs to be infused in Africa and in Africans. That will make all these things that we are dreaming about and believing in possible, because they need cooperation. Cooperation comes from relationship. It's not something that has to be written down somewhere. So I think those are my 2 cents. I know it's now 1 a.m. in Kenya. So as for myself, I might be retiring soon unless there's any other thought. I think I saw somebody writing on the on the YouTube that on the wall that sometimes some of these nice programs, we are starting them a bit late. Maybe we should work on that. But those are my 2 cents, Mr. Ezra and Tezi.
Yeah, actually, I agree with you, and I think it's one of them. I was actually even going to say that it's time for me also to retire. I don't know, Pastor Ezra.
Yeah, I think it seems like infrastructure is a big issue, and it's something that we need to talk about. I think we will have a session where we can talk about the infrastructure, because I think it's very broad, even agriculture and other things that need to be done. I mean, I think there's a lot of things that we can cover, but each, I mean, really divide them into a different conversation so that we can focus on each of them properly. And another thing that I also wanted to add, I think, is it might be out, but I think everything goes into what's this, the discipline. I think I'll add discipline to everything, because, or must I say, maybe management, all the resources, anything you have, no matter how good you may be in sport, whatever, talents, gifts, whatever, you still need discipline to have that, to be efficient, to be productive. As you said, Menda, says that Africa is always ranked low when it comes to when it comes to productivity. And I believe that for us to really maintain our development and to continue growing in terms of whatever we build on, whether infrastructure, whether it's programs, we need to have discipline, we need to have management, people that can manage our resources well. Because as some people will say that Africa is not poor, but it's badly managed. So let's continue doing that. And I believe that we need to build our management skills from now onwards going forward until we reach that promised land. Without management and without proper discipline, Africa will still remain poor, regardless of the resources or the potential it has. We need to have leadership, as Mr. Wallace said. It goes to leadership. When Mr. Wallace, you mentioned leadership, and I believe in what you said about leadership is very important. for us moving forward. I don't know if there's something that you guys want to add as well.
I think I just have to say a good night. Thank you guys for your time. It's been a pleasure. We can be starting earlier if we possible, but it's based on timelines. I believe you are about 2 hours behind Pastor Ezra. You're a pastor? I didn't know that.
I'm an hour behind.
An hour. Oh, you're just an hour.
Yeah, I'm an hour behind.
Okay.
So like it's like 12 midnight for me.
Okay.
I know it's already 1 a.m. where you are.
Okay. Yeah. So I just say thank you. It's been a pleasure, and I believe we are having the right conversations. Now it is to practicalize them. We say, what can we do in life? You always start with what do I have? If you read the Bible, God always asks, what's that in your hand? What do you always start where you are with what you have and what you can do at that point in time, and then you're on the right path. So, but I'm very grateful. Thanks for your time. For everyone who is watching on YouTube, for your comments. I'm very grateful. I'm looking forward to when we catch up next. I'll be here, hopefully. God bless.
Thank you. Amen. Amen. Thank you, Mr. Wallace. For those wise words, we are definitely going to have a part 2 of this session, maybe focusing more on agriculture and other things. And Mwandathezi, in closing, from your side?
Mine is to say just thank you for the discussion. It was a very informative. I've learned a lot from my brothers here, Pastor Ezra and Mr. Wallace. Thank you for for the knowledge you have contributed. And thank you for the people in the comment section, everybody who has joined us today. Mine also is just to say good night for those who are for those who are in this side of the world. For those who is it still daytime, have a good afternoon or morning, depending on where you are. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you, Mr. Wallace. Thank you, Tezi, and thank you, His Excellency, for bringing this topic. And we know that it all began with the pipeline in Uganda and Tanzania, but we know that whatever affects any part of our continent affects all of us. And I see this really open up a big thing. I mean, they really opened. There's a lot of issues that we needed to touch on, but I think going forward from my side in terms of Uganda and Tanzania, I think they should really stick to this plan and continue with this project. I know there's a lot of obviously maybe things that we don't know here because it's the leadership of those countries and obviously EU. But I believe that Uganda and Tanzania should continue with this project, and let's make sure this project really is a success. So yeah, that's just my take on this thing, and I believe that it will be a success. Uganda will benefit from their oil, and even Tanzania as well on this pipeline project. His Excellency, I'm not sure if he's still with us, if he has his last words, but thank you, His Excellency. If you're listening, I don't know if you've got any last words. And again, family, before you leave, we still have the GoFundMe pledge, €5 or $5 US. Please continue supporting us. Go and pledge your €5 because we need offices. We need to have a media platform that has offices, a media platform that has resources. So we are a platform that's going to reach all over the world. I mean, we'll also compete with the likes of all this news corporations or even media platforms that you know worldwide. But that's where we're starting, and we want to have offices. We want to build a studio. Please join us, support us in that idea, in that vision. We have leaders in this Swahili Nation, One Africa. We've got so many leaders. Some of the leaders, you've heard them here. Mr. Wallace, Mr. Tezi, Mr. Mika, His Excellency. So there's a lot, and even the people on the comment section, there's a lot of people with ideas, people with the know-how, and people who want to see this continent succeed. And you can support us and help us to succeed in that manner. And from my side, I'm just going to close in prayer, and then it's going to be shalom for tonight. And join us again every night, 9 p.m. East African time. And hopefully in the coming months, some streams, I know we can do them early, as Mr. Wallace said, mentioned something about some shows being early. And earlier we had a show by our host, Mr. Paul. Yeah, so we can twist, we can really add some of the, change some time zones, I mean, time slots for different shows. If there's something breaking news, normally His Excellency come in and share with the family. But for now, every night we are live, 9 p.m. East African time. Different conversation, as like today we were talking about Uganda and Tanzania's project being put on hold, or suggestions or pressure from Europe. But we believe it will be a success, and this project will really see, we'll see this project come into, I mean, the oil project come into fruition. Yeah, so that's from my side. And so continue supporting. Here's the link. I'm just going to quickly just also share the GoFundMe page where you can support us. So please click that link, support us, €5. Help us, family. Help us to get our offices. We're planning to get our offices in Dar es Salaam. That's where we're going to start. So please go and pledge €5. I mean, it's been a great show. We've been here almost 4 hours. Go and do the right thing. Go and just pledge your €5 or €10 or whatever amount you feel you want to bless us with. So from my side, it's shalom, but I'm just going to close in prayer. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for this night that you've blessed us with. Thank you that we can meet as brothers and sisters, discuss ideas and the visions that Africa needs to accomplish. We thank you, Father, for the strength and the wisdom. Until we meet again, we pray for your protection and your wisdom in Jesus' mighty name.
Amen.
Amen.
Good night, brother.
Good night, family.